Ladies and gentlemen, back with another episode of Mixin with Mas. Here with your boy.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, gentlemen.
And my man, Farrukh. What's your last name?
Yes, sir. Mirzalievf.
Mirzalievf.
Yep.
So, you are a Marine, correct?
I'm a Marine, correct.
So, what got you into the Marines?
To be honest with you, initially, I just hated college, man. That's the honest response. I went to Hunter for 2 years, studied psychology, but I was undeclared at that point. Kind of like the path. Yeah, go to school, go to college, you'll be successful. And so I took that path. I went to Hunter. I studied. I was just taking courses. I didn't really know where I was going, And a lot of my friends joined the Marines. I went to Newtown High School, and Newtown High School is like the prime destination. And at one point I just walked into a recruiting station, and I was like, I want to be a Marine.
Wow.
It's pretty rare that you actually have people who just walk in and say, hey, I want to be a Marine. Most
Like
of the
a
time,
rogue.
it's either a referral or recruited by a recruiter or one of those things. It's very rare that people actually walk in, hey, I want to join the Marines or whatever branch. And I was one of those kids, but somebody referred me, but it wasn't like, he was like, hey, come see the recruiter. He was like, why don't you try the Marines, But ultimately, I came in myself. And then 6 months later, I was like, they were like, what do you want to do? This and that. They gave me a list of options. I took the ASVAB, which is kind of like the SAT for the military.
Got it.
I scored a 62 or 63, which is...
What's the standard out of what?
So the passing score is 31. 31 or 32 is the passing score. And
so you well overpassed.
Yeah, so which is 62 is
phenomenal, right?
It's for Marines it is, but it's a decent score. You could with 62 you could do plenty of jobs in the military.
What's the max?
100, I think. 100. Okay. It might be slightly over 100 or 100, but I think it's 100. There's certain, every military has its own grading system. So for the Army, it might be in certain aspects of the test, like engineering or mathematics or English comprehension.
Gotcha.
So they would score it differently, but overall it's 100. So, but on certain aspects you could score over 100. So 115 would be the top.
So you said it's like an SAT almost. So
pretty
like
much,
it's every genre. Like
it's
English, math.
A little bit
of history, or no?
I'm not sure. I don't remember. I took it like 6 years ago. I don't remember if they do in history, but it's also like logic questions.
Yeah, like critical thinking.
Or a mirror reflection, and they would be like, how would the image look if it was in the mirror? Reflect the picture.
Literally a mirror.
So a mirror picture. So there would be an object or a shape, and then you would have to look at it and imagine how it would look in the mirror.
But why? Why do they ask that question?
Dude, they also ask like car battery questions.
Really?
Yeah.
So do they want you to be like expected to like have like engineering?
I guess it's a little bit of everything, just to see what you're going to be best, what your best fit in the military is going to be. Whether you're going to be, maybe you're better with cars and you have more car knowledge than somebody who's just good at English or math.
Yeah.
So they will put you more into that field. But ultimately, you choose the job. You're either qualified or you don't. Do you want it or not? You take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
So you said you were in college. Was this a CUNY?
It was a CUNY. It was a Hunter school. So
did you get your degree there?
No, I did not. I had like 40 something college credits, and I was like, can I use language here?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, I was like, fuck this, fuck college,
Yeah, sometimes that's the case. I mean, everyone has a different path.
Ultimately, it's. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's always good to have a degree.
I was gonna say. What would be your input on someone that's interested in going into the military and having a degree?
Join the Marines.
Join the Marines?
I would definitely say that. I'm not even like being a fanatic here, but I would say out of all the branches, the Marine Corps is the best because, the benefits are pretty much the same across the board in terms of
It's a little more comfortable if I pull it in more. Like, is that good?
Yeah, definitely.
I bet.
So, but the reason why I always tell people if they do decide to join the military, why pick the Marine Corps is because it gives you more discipline. It definitely does. There's more discipline in the Marine Corps. There's more values that other branches don't offer. Yeah, you're gonna have monetary things like money and college paid for and stuff like that. But the discipline and the brotherhood and the camaraderie that you're gonna have in the Marine Corps is not like any other branch.
I've heard a lot about criticizing in the Air Force, and they say like,
dude,
they're soft. Apparently,
I mean, they're definitely soft, but
Chair Force, you said?
Yeah, absolutely. They do have their own special units, and they do have like special forces stuff.
Each branch does, right?
Yeah. So they're pretty badass. Some of those guys,
I've heard some stories.
Yeah, they're the ones who, if you're down in somewhere in a hostile zone, they will come in and retrieve you. So they're pretty badass. Those guys are like PJs. That's what they are.
No, there's a lot of respect all around, but I understand within the branches, you guys pick at each other because it's kind of like a brotherly thing,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because people take it as like almost like spitting on one another, but
Yeah.
to me, I don't see it like that.
Definitely is. It's definitely spitting on one another.
Yeah.
But in a good way, you know.
But in a good way, yes.
You could spit in the cup, I'll drink it. You know, that's that kind of brotherhood.
I got you,
I actually
got you.
do that at the bar when I get drunk.
That's really nice.
I'll be like spit in the cup, I'm drink.
I heard something about that. Like my friend was in the Navy. He was telling me like when you're on a boat and it's like 99% guys, like
Yeah.
and they're away for a while. And he was Navy. Have you ever been on a boat for like
I
a
have
long
not.
time?
I have not.
He was telling me it gets fucking crazy because drugs aren't allowed. So they
Yeah.
just, everyone turns to alcohol.
They do. Yeah, they
right?
do. Yeah,
And they party hard. He was telling me like the things they do is just
Yeah,
wild.
Yeah. I never been on a ship, and I can't imagine being on a ship for a long time. You know, you got to imagine the sizes of the rooms.
Yeah, I've seen the bunks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right? Like you're in like a little cabinet. It's almost like you're a file at that point.
Also, probably the psychological aspect of being away for so long.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long they rotate for 7, 6, 7, 8, 9 months.
Yeah. So you've been a Marine for 6 years, you said, right?
5 years.
5 years, got you. So it's going on 6?
It's going on. No, it's going on. This is my 2015. This is 2020. It's going on my 5th year.
Okay, got
This
you.
is my 5th. Yes.
So have you served outside of the U.S.?
I have never been deployed. No.
Okay, got you. And right now you are a recruiter, right?
I'm on recruiting assistance. So yesterday was my last day. Actually, it was 45 days of recruiting assistance. It's pretty fun. And I'm going back to my battalion in Brooklyn, and I'm going to be conducting 3 months of funeral honors. So
Okay.
then my ultimate goal is to be a recruiter.
So the funeral honors, they take place at the cemetery, right?
Sometimes it's at the cemetery. Sometimes it's at the.
Is it like a parade field?
Sometimes it's a funeral home. Sometimes it could be the deceased apartment or house, wherever their family is. You know,
So you bring the flag?
we bring the flag. We fold the flag. Yes,
Got it. Do you fold it in front of them?
in front of them. Yeah, in front of
Teach
the
them,
family.
right?
Yeah,
No, yeah.
and
I learned how to fold a flag. It's
yeah,
it's
that's,
nice.
that's incredible. Where'd you learn that?
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts, good.
Yeah, I'm an
You
Eagle
were a
Scout.
Boy Scout, dude. What are you serious?
So
Tell me.
Being in the Boy Scouts?
Yeah.
It's not like the way the media portrays it as like everyone's a pedophile and that it's
Yeah.
just really, it's a catch. It's not. It's like, it's great for kids that want to go outside, learn leadership skills, be amongst one another. It's like the same camaraderie of boys in the army, in the military,
Dude, that's great.
stuff like that. It's like brotherhood, you know? Like you go to war together. For us, it was just, we'd go to these games or we'd go to like these giant events. And to us, that was like war, you know?
Dude,
And we have like a pregame speech. We go in there, we go
a little
charging.
motivation. That's good.
Exactly, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How old were you?
Right now?
I mean, how old were you when you did that?
When I
Boy
started,
Scouts?
I was 5 or 6, and I finished at 18.
A little
I know, right?
It's so cute.
Yeah, a little pupil,
It is actually really
tiny
cute.
man. But one of my questions was, how does being an Eagle Scout help in the military?
Damn, that's a good question because I have no answer for that.
Really?
I don't know. I really don't. This is just something I don't know the answer to.
I got you, because a lot of people always told me growing up, they're like, it's gonna really help you.
Yeah,
So
I would assume so because I'm not really familiar with the Eagle Scouts. I don't really know what they do. Is it the same thing as Boy Scouts?
It's a Boy Scout that reaches the highest rank.
Okay,
it's like-
so
it's basically there's no cap in the military. I mean, there is, but like the likeliness of getting to like a 4-star general is pretty crazy.
I mean, yeah, if you're an officer, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not being an officer either. It's kind of just like getting to the highest place you can. But they say that like when you go to the army, I'm only sure with the army right now that you could go from like an E3 to E4
I think the
upon
army.
arrival.
I think the army could do that because the highest you could be in the Marines is an E2. It's either 15 college credits or 2 referrals, and
Got
people
it.
join the Marines. So
how is it like when you're joining the Marines? How easy is it, or how hard is it to kind of like acclimate?
to boot camp or to
Yeah, how is Hell Week? Was that a thing for the Marines?
yes, it's not really Hell Week, but it's there's the final event is called the Crucible.
Okay.
I can't really remember how many miles of hiking. I think it's like 50. Don't quote me on that. I have to look it up. 40 or 50 miles of hiking over the course
Roughly,
of,
that's a lot.
Yeah, over the
Still.
course of what is it, like 70? Dude, this will be so bad. Over the course of 2 or 3 days, I don't even remember. But
Damn, so you were gonna say 70 hours?
yeah,
I thought you were gonna say 70
you
days.
get you get what I remember for sure is that you get 4 hours of sleep, but we didn't even get that. We only caught 2 hours of sleep, and they're like, "Yo, you getting up?"
I feel like sometimes it hurts more, even though those hours will carry you
the
out throughout the
2
day.
hours of sleep.
It's like a tease, right?
Fuck that, you know. You just
Would you rather just not sleep at all?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's harder
'cause
getting up. Like when you're exhausted and you only get 2 hours of sleep, waking up is so much harder.
Yeah, that is true. But you know, at that point, you're not really thinking about. Your mind is not
Yeah.
straight at that
Yeah.
very moment because the lack of
True.
sleep, the lack of all the hikes. You have like 70 pounds of gear and
Mhm.
you're exhausted. You're not.
So start us off in the beginning. How did, I have a friend that lives down the block from me. I've known him all my life. He became a Marine recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
alright.
And he was there for the summer. I think it was 8 weeks. Is that how long it takes?
13 weeks
13 weeks.
is
I'm
boot
sorry,
camp.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So how does boot camp start? Like as soon as you arrive, how do you get there? Just break the entire thing down.
Okay,
I'm
so
interested.
well, first you gotta sign a freaking contract, right? If you qualify, right, you have to have no crazy tattoos. Marines have the strictest tattoo policies. You can't have any crazy tattoos, basically.
What does that mean? Crazy.
Like sleeves.
You can't have a sleeve.
Yeah, you can't have a sleeve in the Marines. You could. So
If you already have it, can you come in with it?
No.
Or no. No.
No.
Wow.
People could be grandfathered in. So people that had it before prior to them changing their regulations, they could stay in. But it also kind of hinders them as well. So, but yeah, if you have a sleeve, you can't join the Marines. You can't do drugs, obviously. You have to have a high school diploma or GED. Medically, you can't have anything. You just
Like HIV or coronavirus.
Yeah, you'd be all right. No, coronavirus is fine. I mean, you're gonna after 2 weeks.
That's another question I have, but continue. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, say you qualified. After a certain amount of time, you get a ship date, and you ship out to Parris Island. They fly you out. So I'm assuming from New York City. You go to LaGuardia or whatever. Parris Island is in South Carolina.
Okay.
So
is it an actual island?
Is it? Yeah.
It sounds landlocked.
I don't think it is landlocked. I think
No, because they have a beach there. They have Myrtle Beach in South Carolina.
yeah, but it's
Is it actually off the coast?
it is. I believe it is. I don't remember because I know exactly. It's like right.
No, that
on
would
the
make
shore.
sense because usually they do training when
Right.
Like,
I you know what? I don't want to say it is or it is not. I don't remember.
Oh, don't worry.
It's in a town
All right,
called
so
Buford.
you're on Parris Island.
You're on Parris Island.
Gotcha.
Miserable place. First 3 days, I don't know. I don't even know if I should be talking about the experience like that. But first 3 days, you pretty much don't really sleep.
Are you allowed to talk about these things?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean,
Alright.
it's, you could Google that. You will see that. You will. It's
Got
not. It's not a classified information. It's like it's a
Gotcha.
freaking boot camp. You know.
Yeah.
First 3 days, you don't really get any sleep. I mean, at all.
Mhm.
So this is kind of where you're presented with the reality that from now on, for the remaining 13 weeks, your life is completely different. You went from being me to like, referring in third person. You got to say this recruit requests permission, and you got to scream. The entire time you're in boot camp, you got to scream on top of your lungs.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a way you manage to keep your voice from like
You don't. You just
raspiness? Like they say, yell with your diaphragm instead of your right.
Yeah, you gotta speak with your chest. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, you should see how drill instructors talk. It's crazy. Like they scream.
As soon as you get there, don't they have their brim low, right?
Yeah.
And they're just yelling in your face.
So you arrive on a bus. That's the moment of arrival. You come from there. They pick you up at the airport. It could be Savannah. It could be whatever the closest place. It could be in Georgia. It could be depending with what they have contracted. So
Yeah.
you get on the bus. You keep your face down the entire time.
Wow.
You arrive there in the middle of the night. That's intentionally, right? So you get disoriented and stuff.
Okay.
You arrive there in the middle of the night, and then and the drill instructor gets on the bus and whatever he does the countdown, and like in 3 seconds you guys are all gonna look up at me and scream, and he's there and he's fucking screaming. You're like you having your whole world shatter right in front of you. Like fuck.
I can imagine that feeling like, oh my god, what did I just walk into?
Yeah. And then you get on the yellow footsteps, and then from there they tell you this whole speech. You walk through the hatches, and then you do all the paperwork process. In the first
What are
days
the
is pretty much. They have the eagle globe and anchor on them, and it kind of symbolizes the passage from you being a civilian to a Marine. You walk hatches or doors, so that you only walk through those specific doors once.
Okay.
So
It's a symbol.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So
And then you said you signed something?
and then it's like paperwork. Hey, where you from? This and that. Your social security, whatever. Then they figure out where you go, what platoon you're gonna
Don't
be
they
assigned
rush you
to.
through that process?
No, they actually explain everything really well. Like
Okay.
this is like freaking.
I watched the video and they're like, sign it fast.
Yeah, but you will sign it correctly.
Yeah.
And if you won't, like you'll just get fucked up and do it again. You get the phone call home. You call home and they're like,
Hey, Ma, I made it.
yeah. This is recruit, whatever the freaking hell arrived to Parris Island. I will contact you and whatever by mail. Don't send any crazy shit by mail. And
Do you allow a response? Like, is there a conversation or it's basically just you giving a
you're
message?
just
and
reading the
that's it?
prompt. You're reading the prompt.
And then you hang up?
Yeah.
Like, they
You
pick up
can't
or is it
have
a
a-
voicemail?
No, they pick up. They have to answer.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But once you're not allowed to listen to their response, it's blah, 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 see you. Bye.
yeah.
Like that?
It's like that. I had an extra like 5 seconds, so I was able to talk to my mom.
I love you, Mom. Right?
Yeah, I love you, Mom. Literally what I said.
Yeah.
Damn, but those
You just say, I love you, Mom.
they'll fuck you up
Get down.
if they hear you. That's the thing.
Yeah.
When it's chaotic, you kind of.
Gotcha.
It's a good life lesson. In chaos, you could find an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you
That's
have
true.
to do what you
Yeah.
have to do. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
That's an outlook a lot of people aren't willing to talk about, but it's definitely real. You know?
look at the times right now. Look at the times.
I know, right? A lot of people taking advantage. It's a weird time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's true. So once you sign these papers and you get into boot camp, right?
Mm-hmm.
So after you're done, like with the paperwork, hand it in. What's next?
Well, for 3 days, they're still trying to sort you out, and you get your gear issued, like your camis, your boots, stuff like that. And then they assign you to your platoon, to your company, and you get your own drill instructor. Usually, there's 3 or 4 per platoon, and then you go from there. And then for the remaining 12 or 13 weeks, whatever the amount of time left already, those are going to be your drill instructors.
Have you kept in touch with them?
Yeah, dude, they're cool. My drill instructor is actually on Family Feud.
Really?
Yeah, senior drill instructor. I think he's a gunnery sergeant now. Back then, he was a staff sergeant. Staff Sergeant Hall. He's a great guy. He was I think he was communications. His MOS. MOS is a military occupational specialty, pretty much like the job.
Got it.
He was a badass, and I feel like that's the thing that people don't talk about in the Marines, that your morale and your attributes, they start off in boot camp. Like your drill instructors, they're the ones who instill all that discipline and all that mentality into you. They're the founding fathers of the freaking Marine Corps. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got you.
So
there's a responsibility they have.
Absolutely, dude. Those
they're
people
just as much involved as you are.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. They have the toughest. I feel like one of the toughest jobs in the Marines. They scream the entire time. They look at you individually. They help you be a Marine. They build you into a Marine. So
got you.
They have a difficult task, and I feel like my drill instructors were just the best. They were literally the best. They were always on top of it. And one of my drill instructors, his name is he's a staff sergeant right now as well. Back then he was Sergeant Dunphy. He was Motor T.
You guys have a lot of nicknames in there?
For drill instructors or for
each other, or maybe
well, the drill instructors call his names, like funny names.
Okay,
they used to call me Little Russia because back then they called me Russia because in my battalion I was called Little Russia because we already had somebody Russian from Uzbekistan.
Got it.
But explain Uzbekistan to them. But I'm half Russian and I speak Russian. I don't speak Uzbek, so there goes the Russian part because I speak Russian Yeah, he always told me, when we would go on the runs, on the hikes, the pupil sticks, the when we did doing the boxing stuff, all the sessions, he would always be like, never look broken. Even if you're broken, if you're tired physically, it's the perception that counts. When people look at you and you see you're a Marine, well, back then you're a recruit, but you look broken and you don't have it in you. You're tired, you're giving up.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Put your fucking head up, put your chin up.
Yeah.
Stop looking broken. Stop complaining. And I took that with me in my. Not that I don't complain. Everybody complains.
Yeah, exactly.
But in terms of people don't see it. People don't see it. Don't let people see your weaknesses because they'll just take advantage of that. And especially when they know you're a Marine, like you're supposed to represent something. There's certain expectations that are supposed to be met.
I feel like in our society right now, it's all about like accepting and like showing people your weaknesses and helping out. I see there's definitely values to that, right? Because you don't want to be like this guy who's always like macho all the time. If you have problems, you gotta
absolutely address those issues.
Exactly. But at the same time, I feel like we also live in a society where it's like all we want to do
is talk about our
weaknesses,
feelings,
exactly.
And I say virtue signaling.
A lot of times,
plenty of that. Most of these
I feel very patronized when people virtue signal. Not even to me, but when I see it happening, I'm like, this is disgusting. Because like, are you showing us your character, like, or the side you want us to see, or is this like a show?
It's a show. It's definitely a show. It's
a lot of times it is
cloud chasers.
Yeah, some people just trying to get like the empathy, and I feel like we yes, feelings are important. You have to talk about emotions, and it's like an area that's gray. You
don't have to talk about it. You don't have to talk about your feelings with everyone.
Yeah, there's a time and a place, like, and it doesn't have to come up in every situation.
Absolutely,
because a lot of people like using it as an excuse for a lot of things. Like if they can't get something done,
dude,
they're gonna blame their emotions.
It's my is this, is that, dude.
It's a go-to.
I'll say this about my life. 99.9% of problems that I have in my life are because of me.
Yeah.
Are because of me.
And who's gonna solve them?
Me.
Exactly.
They're not because of my parents. They're not because of the United States. They're not because of the politicians. They're not because of anything but yourself.
I really like that.
People have to take that whatever problems you have in your life, like just think in your head.
It's caused by me. Whether it's lack of planning, right?
Absolutely.
Lack of preparation,
whatever it is.
caring.
Or just being young and immature and learning on your mistakes and learning from that.
Yeah.
Just taking something and going forward. But a lot of people just keep making the same fucking mistakes.
Yeah. Oorah, right?
Oorah, fucking.
Isn't that what you guys say? It's oorah, right?
Oorah.
So OORAH.
OORAH. Yes.
Got it.
Nobody really says that like
not anymore.
It's like rah.
Gotcha. Because I heard every branch has something different.
Yeah, Army says like something like hooah. Sounds retarded.
Yeah. Not like that.
Navy says hoo-ya.
Hoo-yah.
Yeah, it's
Nah, but I like it when it's more of like when it's a grunt, you know? When it's like you all say it together. Hoorah.
Yeah, I love it, bro. Honestly, every time, that's the thing. A lot of people lose that motivation in the military in general. I'm not even being picky with the branch, but people lose that motivation. They sign up, they were fired up, they were excited, and I understand maybe I didn't have those experiences that a lot of other people in the military had that really break them down. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like bad leadership or
so you were fortunate.
Yeah, so I'm fortunate. So yeah, I haven't been deployed. I don't know, like life on a ship for 9 months. Maybe I would have been like, you know what, fuck this. But so I haven't had those experiences. But it's also what you emulate, being in for 5 years, and they see that you're motivated and you still got that spirit and you're still fighting, and it's what matters. I feel like morale and unit morale is one of the most important aspects of war fighting.
Oh yeah, I love morale and like the group.
Absolutely. If you don't have that, if you're fighting for whatever cause you're fighting for, and it's not something that's in common with others, and it's gonna be a shitty fight.
Yeah, because you're looking for a different outcome. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have different expectations. You have to know the mission. You have to know why you're doing it. Mission's intent, right?
Good point.
You have to know.
So like, do you guys? And I know you haven't served yet, but in the Marines before they go out and they talk about their mission stuff like that, how do they kind of like what kind of skills do they use besides Hell Week and training to kind of bring their boys together? To kind of make sure that they all have the same intent and same purpose.
So what specifically are you referring to, like pre-deployment?
Yeah, or maybe like while they're deploying, like right before you go on a mission, is there something they do? Like, do they have like a?
Well, they do pre-deployment training. So you go on a shooting range, you go swim qualification, you're doing all those things, gas chamber. So God forbid something happens, and depending, if you're infantry, you probably do more shooting. If you're whatever other job,
which one do you want to do?
Well, I already have a job. I'm a network administrator, 0631. So
if you were to serve, would you still network?
You mean like deploy?
Yeah, if you were deployed.
I would depending on the billet. I could be deploying for there's different types of deployments. It depends on the situation. It could be that job, it could be something different. But that's the thing about the Marine Corps. Every Marine is a rifleman. That's the biggest difference between the Marines and every other branch, is that the Marine Corps, in the Marine Corps, you're first a rifleman. So you could be a cook, you could be a freaking truck driver, you could be supply, you could be admin, you could be network, you could be freaking UAV operator. First, you're a rifleman, a basic rifleman. That's the cool part, because after boot camp, when you complete boot camp, you go home for 10 days or whatever it is, and then you go to Marine Combat Training, MCT, and over there you shoot the M240 machine guns. You work with you do 40mm grenade launchers, M67 fragmentation grenades.
How exciting is that,
dude?
That sounds like fun, bro.
It's not only that it's fun. You shoot for free. Shoot for free,
bro. Shooting things, you can't tell me that
ammo's so expensive,
bro. You can't tell me that shooting a gun is not the coolest thing ever. Like, think about the technology and how far we've come in humanity in terms of like, we used to throw rocks, right? That became bow and arrows. Eventually, it was like spears. And
rocks are deadly though.
Yeah, rocks, they are. I mean, like, a lot of people stone each other still in this world.
I've seen videos. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But I'm saying, like, the mechanism of a gun. It's thrilling, and people are like, "No, you're just condoning more violence now." Like, they're gonna say that I'm preaching about school shooting and stuff like that because people.
They should really shut the fuck up.
I know, right? And not all the people watching are gonna agree with that side, because that's one of the extremes. But I feel like I like guns.
That's what I love about the military. You don't really fucking care. Just saying. No, honestly, you have to have thick skin.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, and people don't like that because they think it's arrogant.
It's not political. It's not political at all. It's not a political issue. I'm not taking any sides. I'm not endorsing anybody, but it's not a political. Second Amendment is not a political issue. Okay. It's a constitutional right.
That's different. Yeah, got you.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed.
There you go.
It shouldn't be politicized. It's not a political tool. It's not a discussion. This is not.
It can become a political tool. That's the thing, though, because when you have stuff like the what's the regulator? The guys in charge?
The ATF?
No, the other one. The Rifle Association.
Oh, the rifles, but they don't really run anything.
No, but don't they have like
NRA?
Yeah, the NRA.
They're garbage. They don't fight for gun rights. They don't fight for anything.
They don't? What do they fight for?
Just they just get all the donations and they do whatever they want with the money. They're not.
Yeah, but people might say, like, I've heard stuff where it's like
NRA is garbage.
They sign off on certain things, regulations, or like they'll
they'll
pass certain things that.
It's like saying Cardi B is a rapper. She's trash.
Gotcha.
You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Like, she gets the clout, but is she good as a rapper? No. She's a good clout chaser. She's good on hyping people up, but she's not a rapper.
She knows her audience too.
Yeah, she knows her audience. Just like the NRA. They don't do anything for gun rights, but they know the audience, the boomers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they're fighting for my guns, and they only have like one shotgun locked somewhere. And like,
yeah, no, it's kind of confusing. That's a really big debate in this country right now, like with gun rights and stuff like that. I do think the symbol, like if we watch any time in history, anytime you disarm the people, that's when the government takes over. So I will not.
You know where it's going. You know where it's going.
Bro, that's exactly like what did Hitler do? What did Mussolini attempt? Like all of them have like really similar.
Stalin.
Bro, exactly. What do you
Lenin.
do? You disarm the people. Why?
Mao.
You can't have. I don't really trust Big Brother like that, where I'm just gonna give them my stuff, you know, and have my best interest in their hands. That's never how it works.
He said it. He said it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's just accurate. It's common sense, you know.
Those are facts.
It's true. But there's also like things where people like, why do you have full auto or something like that, or like why should you have an extended mag?
You really can't have full. You really can't have full auto until you have to have a federal tax stamp, and all the weapons that are full auto will be pre 1984 because they banned assault full auto in 1984. And what is it? Why are people so obsessed with full auto or semi-auto? Do you know what the issue is? Is that most people who talk about gun what is it? Gun reform are the ones who have no fucking idea. What's a gun? What's a long gun? What's a SBR?
And they see they'll see an M14 and they'll compare it to an AK-47.
They don't. Yeah, they don't know anything. They don't even know what an AR. They don't know what AR stands for. AR-15. What does AR stand for?
It's an asshole rifle.
It's an automatic rifle.
Yeah.
It's a freaking assault rifle.
Yeah.
It's an armor light. That's what it stands for. Armor light rifle.
People don't know that, you know.
They don't know shit.
Well, you got to look up your stuff first, because like a lot of times people are talking about these guns, and like you hear it on the news. They're like, she has a machine gun, and someone's holding a pistol, right? And to them, it's the same thing. But when it comes down like to the minute details, like there's really a big difference.
It's absolutely paramount. Why do they think that a handgun or a bullet goes through your face? I don't care if it's 22 caliber, it's a small bullet, or a 50 cal. If it goes through your head, you're pretty much done. The fuck does it matter? You know, some weapons are definitely more lethal than others, but ultimately, it's about where you get hit. Yeah.
So are you guys trained to is it like shoot to kill, or is it kind of like
2 to the chest, 1 to the head, or 2 to the chest, 1 to the pelvic?
Got it.
So I mean,
so they're not teaching you how to
let me
disable, but it's more.
Let me shoot him in the leg real quick.
Yeah, right. Because it's like why. So they're training you for the worst possible case.
Absolutely, yeah.
Exactly. A lot of people don't.
It's also not
that.
civilian. It's military. It's combat.
Exactly.
It's not. This is not law enforcement or stuff like that.
This is a war zone. Right. People don't understand that like deadly force has to be met with people who have deadly intentions.
Dude, when you have somebody, I could just imagine somebody being out there and there's a suicide bomber. Or whether he's in a car. Imagine he's in a vehicle. They put some freaking thick ass freaking plates on the sides of the vehicles, and you can't really penetrate that with a regular rifle. You need you need big guns. You need like 50 cals at least, or something bigger. You need probably
off the Hummer, right?
Yeah, or something bigger. You probably need a bigger gun for that, because some of their armor that they put in they're just putting plates on.
By plates, what do you mean?
Like armor plates, like steel plates that
those
thick, and they have freaking tons of, well, not tons, but kilograms. Plenty of explosives, and they just drive into base, and like how you gonna
explode?
Let me shoot them in the tires. This is
it's crazy because like people don't understand that in this world there is a constant need for protection. Like just as much as
absolutely
we've learned, like let's say coronavirus. I'm gonna use it as an analogy because like with a virus, your body is constantly fighting a war against bacteria, right?
Right.
So we learn now more about our health and stuff like that. So the world itself and national security, especially in America, is a big thing. And yes, there's a lot of spending. People could have their own opinions about that, but regardless, like if you are not constantly on the lookout for problems and you turn your back for even a second, someone's going to try to overcome you, right?
Not looking for problems, but being on the lookout.
Exactly, yeah, because seeking you will find, right?
I mean, don't be in stupid places at stupid times. If you go to 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. somewhere, I don't know, let's say a bad neighborhood,
and you might find
you will find stupid people there. You will not find freaking.
Exactly. Like if you're looking for a problem, you're gonna find it.
You're gonna find it. Yeah. Don't be at stupid. My advice always don't be at stupid places at stupid times with stupid people.
And be prepared too.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's number one.
Absolutely. Be prepared. You have to be prepared.
So people don't understand that national security is something we always have to regulate. Like people are constantly trying to take over the United States, trying to infiltrate, and whether it's cyber, because that's
cyber, right? China.
Yeah. Whether it's viral,
right?
They say this virus could have been concocted in a lab, humanly engineered, right? Which is really scary. I mean, these are topics that are just coming to the surface, but I feel like people don't understand that it's at the same time, as civil as we want to be and as much as we want to share our feelings, there's a side of America that has to be no emotions, just do, you know? There has to be a side where it's like, we have to get something done. We have to put our emotions aside. And a lot of people are like, no, you have to mix. Sometimes you just cannot mix, you know? You just got to get it done.
He said it. He said it.
But I like that. I really like that.
Absolutely,
like,
dude.
when you put problems on yourself, and Jocko Willink, do you know who that is?
No.
Oh, he's a former Navy SEAL commander.
Oh, the guy that always
Jocko
puts up
podcast.
Is that the guy that always puts like everything is
4
black
a.m.?
and white? Everything's
Yeah,
black.
everything's
What's a
black and
4 a.m.? I'll be honest with you, it might be ignorant, but I don't know. I'm not familiar with the guy. I've heard about him, but I don't know.
So everything's black and white. That's just the theme he likes for his podcast.
Why 4 a.m.?
He wakes up every morning at 4 a.m. because he's a beast. I don't know.
That's pretty. That's difficult. To
Yeah,
do.
he bleeds.
That's pretty
he wakes
badass.
up every morning. He somehow's always bleeding. Like he just takes a picture of his blood. He's like, "Oorah," and that's it.
That's some
Booyah.
that's some crazy shit. But
Yeah, I love that. But basically, he's talking about deadly force and stuff like that. I kind of forgot. Wait, how did I brought him up? I brought up Jocko.
is that Navy SEAL?
I brought him up. Yeah, but what was I connecting it to? This happens sometimes.
Damn, I got an attention span of a squirrel sometimes.
No, I have worse. I'm like, I have this attention span. Of
Did
a
you
rock.
drink the coffee or?
Yeah, it took up. I'm not done yet though.
Keep drinking.
finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm not a big coffee guy, but basically, he's talking about accountability and responsibility.
Oh, absolutely.
So he has a book called Take Ownership
Mhm.
or something like that. It's basically about ownership.
Mhm.
Like your problems come from you and your solutions will come from you, but it depends on whether you want to take responsibility for them or not.
Yep.
Because as long as you keep placing the responsibility on somebody else or a third party or some variable that you cannot control, it will never get solved.
Absolutely.
You know, it's like what can you change? So like let's talk about guys and looks, right? So a lot of people are worried about their looks when it comes to like their face and shit like that. But if it's something that you can't control, stop fucking worrying about it. You know,
Guys,
Mhm.
be confident. About
Exactly.
yourselves. I don't care.
There's things you can change, like fitness. How has
Yeah.
fitness helped you?
Yes.
Exactly, right?
absolutely.
Because that's something you can
Absolutely.
change. Like I can't change the size of my ears, right? Or like my bottom
The
lip.
height.
Exactly, right? Like the height. That's a really big thing that men are insecure about. But I
Yep.
feel like if you can't control that, give it up.
Yep.
You know,
Absolutely.
that's out of your control. But-
It's funny that we have double standards
Mhm.
when it comes to males and females.
That's
and all.
true.
It's-
Yeah, right.
If a guy is short, which something that he cannot control, his
Mhm.
height, he's not valid.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a female that's 250 pounds and a fucking whale.
Stop.
No. All right, I haven't said that 250 is a lot. So
No, but I know what you're saying.
250 is
Like,
a lot.
no, I get what you're saying. It's like because if a man was that, like sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, he's a fat fuck," right? But if it's because I've seen it myself. I've seen an obese man who was struggling, like he had diabetes, stuff like that, and people make fun of him, point fingers and shit like that. He's a fat fuck.
Absolutely.
He's a fat fuck. That was the word. That was the label he was given. And then I saw the same thing with a girl. They were like, "Stop, she's beautiful." And I was like, "Why?"
Shaming,
I was like, "Why is the treatment different? Why is she beautiful and he's disgusting?" You know?
double fucking standards.
I don't like.
And
that.
I will also
Yeah.
say this, until you, well, if you have like a condition like diabetes or something, obviously you're excluded from the group. Yeah, I'm not making fun of fat people, but if you just eat fucking 30 donuts a day for breakfast,
Yeah.
lunch, and fucking dinner,
Mhm.
and you're like, my body's beautiful. No, the fuck it's not. I said it.
I feel like people like watching your weight. Not even yes, that's it. Because like it's regulation. Your
Yeah,
body,
dude,
your body is an outward expression
Absolutely,
of your
dude.
discipline.
Yes,
it is.
absolutely.
It's a direct. It's correlated. You can't deny it. But I feel like nowadays, like we're so just like relaxed
Right.
about our health and stuff like that. Like these things are gonna change
Yeah.
the small aspects of your life. And
Absolutely, dude.
and it does come off as insensitive. It's like, why are you calling fat people gross? Like, look, I understand everyone has beauty, and everyone has like their.
Because this is my preference.
That's true. People have their own choice, and like sometimes people would rather.
Hey, I mean, nothing wrong with like, hey, if you're you know a little something, if you're a little bit lighter, I don't really have a type like that. It doesn't matter to me. But if you're like 250 pounds, it's just not attractive. It's just not. You're not attractive. I'm sorry. Like just like if I was like 100 pounds,
Mhm.
a stick.
like just like a feather,
Yeah,
right? Like
you
you,
know
don't
what
want
I'm
to see
saying?
someone's
Yeah.
ribs. That's not attractive
Yeah,
either.
this
You know,
is-
there's two extremes that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not talking about medical conditions. I'm not talking about medical conditions.
But even with someone with a medical condition, there is a way. You know, I've seen it. It's hard.
It really depends on what it is. You know, it's like
That's
just
true.
saying like being born freaking.
But what if someone decides to take that and they're like they use the Jocko experience type thing? It's like, you know what, this is something I can control potentially.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely people
like
that
look at David Goggins. He talks about he was 300 pounds. He was like, I was a fat, dirty fuck. That's what he says. He was like, I was disgusting. I was a slob. And look at him now. He's fit. And he talks about it. He's like, I was a fat slob because he reached the point of obesity because he was complacent. He was lazy.
fuck
and he was
being
comfortable.
complacent. Yeah.
Right? Like fuck complacency. And he was talking about it. He's like, it was gross. And I can say it now because that was my former self. But if I had not finally said this to myself, I would have never changed. You know? And those are some words. I'm not going to tell people that they should change their own lives because that should be an individual kind of thing, you know? We can give them advice.
It's kind of like leadership traits. You lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be telling like, oh, I hate fucking fat people, but you're fat yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or not hate fat people, but like I don't find them attractive, but you're like fat yourself. You know, you have to bring that example, be that change. You were 250 pounds and now you're fit and lean, whatever. I'm not getting too specific into the weight, but you were not happy with how you look. And I know most of these people are also not happy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not happy with how they look.
Yeah.
They just want you to be happy with how they look.
I get what you're saying.
Because they don't want to put any work into their body. Who the fuck likes going to the gym? I mean, some people do. Yeah.
I love it, but like at the same
you
time,
love it, but why? Because you get results and you see the progress.
And it's also like for me in the gym. It's like, yo, speaking of, I met Farrukh. Spotted me on the flat bench
at
right?
the gym. Yeah.
I was like, yo, can I get a spot? He gave me a spot.
Yeah.
I gave him a spot, and I was like, yo, this is a little bromance going on. And we started talking. I was like, what do you do for a living? Blah blah blah. I told me you're a Marine. That was dope, man.
Yeah, it was
hitting plates for reps, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Are the gyms still open or are they?
Yeah.
Oh.
I was wondering if I was gonna run into you.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a lot of time. I
slacking,
haven't had a lot of time just because I was,
Work?
for recruiting assistants. I run morning PTs and it's like we run 3 miles every day doing 70, 80 pull-ups and then push-ups and like it's just you don't really have, not that you don't have more, you just don't have time. Like I'm already doing a PT session in the morning, which is not, there's no weights, but it's 3 miles, push-ups, pull-ups, stuff like that. And then you have to do all this recruiting stuff and then you come home 8, 9 p.m. What time are you going to go to the gym? Really? And then you got to wake up early to be at the office. So it wasn't a lot of time. But
you got to factor in sleep, stuff like that.
Yeah, dude, I'm trying to sleep.
I don't know how people get gains off 4 hours of sleep.
Dude,
like, it's
crazy.
crazy.
Some people do. I don't know because
it's really hard,
I have to
especially
have
when you're
my-
abusing your body.
yeah. Sleep is important, dude. Sleep is absolutely
It's one of like the
important.
3
Yes.
main pieces of life. that you have-
Diet,
Yeah.
food. Well, I mean,
It's the
that's
same thing.
right. Diet, sleep, and what else? Exercise. No.
Yeah.
Diet,
Exercise is general. So you can say like exercising the mind because you got to be busy in the mind, right?
Mhm.
Got to be busy physically.
Right. So you were referring to, okay. Right. I get it now.
So I'm going back to the thing about being overweight, and I think it's really imperative that we bring this up again. It's because like if you look backwards, like where humanity is right now, we're very comfortable, right? I'm living in a house that's heated. It's the winter right now.
Oh hell yeah!
Thank God there's global
nice and
warming.
cozy right here.
Exactly, yeah, but like
It's global warming.
It's 60 degrees outside in December, dude. It's 60 degrees.
Yeah, I know.
I walked outside in a t-shirt. I met you in a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? We're almost at Christmas, and we could walk around in shorts.
Yeah.
That's crazy in itself. But right now we're talking into a microphone, right?
So
we're broadcasting this live.
Is it live?
No, I meant like it's recording now.
Alright.
But like we have lights, LEDs, like we have all this shit. We're in a house. We have food. We can afford things like this. We're very comfortable where we are.
Dude,
not 100, but like a couple hundred years ago, maybe even like 1,000 years ago.
All right, you're 18 years old. Time to die.
Exactly, or you have to serve. But like
Right.
what I'm saying is like you had to be fit, and there's like
You had to, yeah. Survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
Literally, I think that's where it comes
exactly,
from.
yeah. And like I feel like we're so accepting of literally anything that there's no more line of there's no more standard. Because like in order to have a special forces unit, you have to make a requirement, right?
No exceptions.
But now we have exceptions for everything. And it's like if you can accommodate everything, where do you draw the line between well done and just everyone, good job, you're fat, right? Like or like you're lazy. You know what? It doesn't matter because you have this as well. But it's like why do we look at it like that? You know what I'm saying?
I think you're onto something here.
You know what I'm saying?
I think you're onto something here.
But it's like why does everyone? It's because like we overvalue. I understand like it's good to find aspects of each person that are different, yes. But at the same time, it's like we hand out like it's like the participation medal thing, like the complex everyone's talking
you
about.
got third place. Hey,
It's like everybody did a good
everybody
job.
gets a gold medal.
Even though like if everyone does the same input and we all get a different output, the people with the output who put less in, right? So like
Absolutely, like school project.
exactly.
I'll just be there. And
No, but like-
some guy would be like, yeah, I'm just doing all the work.
No,
But
I was the guy who would do the work.
I'm not gonna even lie here. I was the guy that fucked these projects, you know.
Mhm.
But I still got credit for it, which is terrible. It's a terrible thing. It shouldn't be that way.
That's true. I'm glad you're saying that because that shows reflection and that shows
Yeah,
that
dude.
like that's your ability to what's it called?
Criticize yourself.
Or denounce ignorance, you know?
Self assessment.
Mhm.
You have to give yourself an assessment of where you are and where you want to be,
Mm-hmm.
and your downfalls and shortcomings. You have to work on that,
Mm-hmm.
because if you can't stand there in front of the mirror and say, "Hey, I need to fix this. I need to fix that,"
Or even internally, you know.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
I didn't mean like actually like your physique in the mirror,
But like yourself,
right.
when you're looking inwards, like
right,
yeah.
and then find those things, and you're just denying reality. You're living in your own world. You're literally, you're just so afraid of what people will think about you. Fuck what people think of you.
Hell yeah, man.
What matters is what you think of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person you should be comparing yourself with is yourself in the past. How far you've come.
So what if someone is, let's say, like they're in the obese category and they're content with that?
Don't complain. Don't get mad when I call you fucking fat.
Yeah, but like, what if you're saying that they don't care, right? Like you're telling them not to care, and then like, if you call them fat, what should their response be though?
I mean, if they're not offended, then what does it matter?
That's true.
So think about it. You're fat. You're happy with it. And I'm like, I wouldn't.
It doesn't make sense though.
I wouldn't just come up and call them fucking fat. This is just disrespectful.
Yeah.
People, it's just being it's just not being a nice guy, and I don't do that. I think all those things, but it doesn't mean that I'm gonna come up to you and call you fat. It's just disrespectful. It makes me a piece of shit. But if you're gonna come at me and teach me how to live my life on health and fitness, and you're 250 pounds, I'm just damn, you're a fat fuck.
Yeah, but how often do you find someone that's 250 pounds giving a lean man
Never.
advice? Right? Yeah. That's the way it should be. I mean, you should speak from experience, and if people don't have...
But those would be the people that tell you to wear a mask outside.
What do you mean?
So people who are like that, for example, are the ones that are like so concerned about health that they're like, go wear a mask outside. Dude, you got diabetes because of your
Yo,
eating
people don't
diet.
talk about that enough. Like, you will die of diabetes and heart failure and cancer
Not corona.
before you die from corona. Yeah.
Exactly.
Why is it this whole like, oh my God, look at him. He doesn't care about the world. He doesn't care about himself or people's health. But it's like, it's so funny. I like how you bring that up because like someone could be extremely overweight, but they'll point the finger at the guy without a mask. Like, look at him. He's detrimental to society. Like, you're telling me that your principles and your habits aren't also detrimental to the people in your household, to yourself, most of all, right? Because it's like lead by example. If someone sees you eating constantly,
Preventable deaths.
garbage,
Preventable deaths.
exactly, bro.
Smoking. Tobacco. Alcohol. And honestly, driving a fucking car, your chance of getting in a car accident, don't quote me on that, are about 1 in 800 that you're gonna get in a car accident.
It's a really high likeliness.
It's a high fucking probability that you're gonna get into a car accident. Not that necessarily you're gonna die, but you're gonna get fucking hurt.
Say it to the mic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That you're gonna get fucking hurt. So why are you guys so afraid of something that statistically is not as deadly as something that we had here for years?
Mm-hmm. Because it's normalized. Because eventually,
because the media,
That's true.
The big tech, the Hollywood, they're like, put on your mask. Meanwhile, they have fucking orgies with no masks.
You know what's funny? Yo, they would rather us trust Big Pharma
Yeah.
and put on a mask, right? Like they won't talk about like there was a doctor on Joe Rogan's podcast and she was saying that like 60-something% of the people in the ICU and like the urgent care unit were vitamin D deficient. And they're like, wow, doesn't that make sense? Like, isn't there a correlation here? And then like only 14% were vitamin D efficient. So they were like, there's a big correlation between health and stuff like this, and like your intake of certain minerals and vitamins,
absolutely,
and your diet, of course. And like, well, why don't we talk about that? Like, you can't prevent getting corona and contracting it, but you can definitely control the outcome.
I agree.
Of how your body challenges it and defeats it, and moves forward with that experience, you know. And this comes from health, from running and being fit, and trying to keep your body fat percentage in. Like, you don't want to do too much regulation because then it becomes really strenuous and like becomes self-conscious. Like right now I'm putting on some fluff because I want to make more size. And then when I cut down, I'll be bigger than I was last year, you know? Like for me, I like seeing that progress. But at the same time, it's like you can't overdo it. Because I've had times where I was bulking and I got into the bulking mentality and I just ate and I ate and I ate.
Fuck
and
that.
it was disgusting.
Yeah,
I was a fat fuck, bro.
Dude, me too.
I've been in a place I can call
205 pounds, yeah.
No, I was like 225.
Dude,
the most.
What? Are you serious?
The most, right now I'm like 185, but the most I ever was
Me too, I'm 185 right now. But you got more muscle. You got more muscle.
I don't know. You can't really tell.
Dude, you do. I could see. Yeah,
but you could see it, but it's different because I know dudes who have like really small legs.
Not even trying to hype you up. It's just the truth.
Thank you. But I know guys who have like really small arms that could bench twice my weight. I don't know how.
I've seen
Doesn't
that too.
Doesn't that not make sense? It's like, yo, there's no way this guy's about to bench 405.
Yeah.
And he puts up 405.
I've seen that.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
But to come back to your point, why are they telling you about all these masks and all that? It's not about your health. They don't give a fuck about your health. Ultimately, it comes down to control. How far can they push it? Shut down the bars, shut down the restaurants.
I like that.
Are these businesses gonna survive after 3
Hell
months
no.
of no work
No.
and no income?
Because they barely just recovered. from the
Absolutely,
last
this is
coronavirus.
such a blow to
Especially
the
in
American
state.
people, and it's being done intentionally. Nobody gives a. They don't give a fuck. And I'm not bringing up any politician specifically, but it's being done to control you. It's not about your health, because if they looked at the statistics and the data and where COVID actually spreads and stuff like that, it wouldn't be the fucking indoor dining restaurant, your local fucking restaurant. It would probably be your Walmart. It'd probably be big. The big businesses are getting bigger and more powerful, and the small businesses are down. It's about monopoly.
Hell yeah, bro. Have you seen how like capitalism has changed in terms of coronavirus and like how much money big corps have made off this shit? Like they are just gaining and gaining.
Amazon. I just actually ordered something off Amazon.
Same. I feel like we're feeding into it because like now our only option is them, and they love it, right? They love it when they limit our options to just a few things, because now those few things are gonna take control.
Remember how a few years ago they wanted to ban when they had well, I'm not gonna say any names, but when they were trying to ban drinks that were extra large. It was like 7.
The gulp, the big gulp. They were taking that away.
How crazy is that, dude?
But that's your right. If I want to drink, even though I don't agree with it, I don't drink soda. I don't drink slushies.
Fuck soda.
I don't like that. I like water. You know, I drink coffee once in a while. Cappuccino if my nonna makes it. That's it. I'll have wine, but that's pretty much hypothetically. I'm underage, so I drink hypothetical wine. You know, it's just.
Wait, how old are you?
18.
Oh my god, goddamn, you're 18. You sound so smart, dude.
No, thank you, bro.
Wow, for an 18-year-old dude.
Stop.
God damn.
Stop.
No, I'm not hyping you up. 18 years old. You got his own podcast. Take example.
Anyways,
Metropolitan High School.
Anyways, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, it's like it should be your choice how much you want to consume.
Yes.
It's not healthy,
now,
but it's the individual's decision to decide whether they want to have a 72-ounce.
Let me ask
soda.
you this: what is your opinion on Oregon legalizing fucking crack and heroin? So it sounds like a pretty libertarian view.
Exactly. I was about
so
to
what
say
do you
that.
think about that?
That comes to a point where it's like, it's definitely like a test. It's almost like they're the guinea
Dude,
pigs
it's
right now.
fucking heroin.
It's crazy. But here's the thing. My view is that like if you want to do it to yourself, I would advocate against heroin because I've seen firsthand what it can do. And I've seen death occur from heroin, and I've seen junkies. Like if you go to Madison Square Garden, you've seen Heroin Village, right?
Heroin Village, yeah.
Bro, like there's literal zombies on the corner. Like they're like trying to get up and they reach for your sweater.
You got $1.
Not even that, bro. Like I went there once. And
bro, they gonna rob you then.
I was there for a Nick game. No. They were like too out of reality to even manage a word. Like this woman was like standing sideways, like they levitate almost. She was standing on one leg and she was like turned over, and I don't know how her center of gravity was like upholding because she should have fell, but she was like leaning some way. And
okay,
I was like,
Michael Jackson over there.
yeah, she was doing that. I was like, there's no way she hasn't face planted right now. And like she reached for my little sister, and my dad was like, let's go. And he grabbed her, he yanked her, my little sister, and they kept walking. But it's like, it's really bad. And I've seen that side of drugs, and it's disgusting. And my dad growing up, he saw his first overdose as a kid. Like someone, because he grew up in the Lower East Side, and like you just see what drugs do. So yeah, I would advocate against it, but at the same time, it's their decision. You know, it might open up a bigger market, but I know chaos is gonna come from this because we've seen the opium wars, right? If you look at that, like when Britain brought their opium in
To China?
yeah,
Oh
and
yeah,
you
they kept them at bay. Yeah.
yeah, and we saw what happened. Like it just fucking destroyed them. Crack was it crack? No, it was just opium. Yeah, it was a bunch of shit that they had. I don't even know what opium the umbrella stands for. But
drugs. We just say drugs.
Yeah, just like hardcore
don't have to get
shit.
specific. Yeah, it's hardcore.
Exactly, like the crack in New York in the 80s. Like we've seen what drugs do eventually, but I think it's good to have at least a couple states or at least one state. So
just to kind of experiment
for the crazies. Like if people like are really libertarian, they should go to that state.
Just
kind of be federal.
Just kind of like they had euthanasia legalized in if I'm not mistaken the state of Washington.
Euthanasia is killing,
like assisted suicide. They had it legalized, I believe, in either Washington or Oregon for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, they usually refer to euthanasia like when it's talking about animals. So originally, I thought you were talking about like, but continue. So this is for humans, right?
Yeah, for humans.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
they had it legal in either Washington or Oregon for a certain amount of time. I think it's illegal now. Kind of like that. They ran the little experiment. But look, if you want to clap yourself, by all means, goddamn. You shouldn't. But if you're
should that be your choice?
If you're ill and you know you're gonna die, terminally ill.
But what if they're incapacitated?
Oh, that's a good question. Goddamn, we're getting into like.
Can the parent make the choice? Can the parent pull the plug? Usually,
kind of like their abortion right there, but
that's a scary question. Yeah, but this is an established person, a human being who's in the world at this point.
Right. No, I get the difference. Yeah. But
both are very hard to decide still because each case is so different.
Right.
You know.
I mean, if you use abortion as means of contraception, then
Can you explain that a little more?
if you use abortion as means of contraception, if you keep getting fucking pregnant and getting an abortion every time.
That's a bad habit.
Yeah, do you get what I'm trying to say? Like,
Yeah.
not like if whatever. Even if let's say you got pregnant once somehow,
Mhm.
you
Or
don't
if it
want
was, like,
yeah,
rape,
or
if it's-
yeah, right, absolutely rape or like
Yeah, that's
incest or some crazy shit, right? But if you get abortions, for example, I don't know, it's
No, but this is an
theoretical. You
example
get it
that's real.
every year. You get abortions every fucking year. Goddamn, use a fucking condom.
Mhm.
This is
No, there are people who have they continually go back. It's almost like they're like a customer. Like,
this is fucking pathetic, dude.
there's some but there's definitely cases
Maybe
where
those
abortion
people
be used,
should not reproduce.
and there's people that are lazy
Yeah.
that are like that have certain habits that they just keep returning and stuff like that. Like to me that's a lazy way out if you had a lazy circumstance. So let's say like it wasn't like of really bad means like rape or incest or something like forced or where the mother's in danger
Mhm.
or the baby's in danger or it's like there's just a problem altogether. By those means, abortion makes sense. You know, it upholds. But then when it's someone who's just like lazy, or it's like not just, I feel like the word lazy is widely used, but it's uncarefulness.
Mhm.
I don't support that. If you have unprotected sex and you have
Lack
a baby,
of responsibility.
yeah, and you decide to abort the baby and it happens more than once, to me that's almost unacceptable. It's like, dude, regulate yourself. You know, like take control.
Dude, you probably know how I feel on the topic. You know.
Yeah,
that.
no, I get what you're saying. Moving forward, I had some questions about the GI Bill.
Mhm.
Would you be able to explain that?
Only find you. Well, basically, GI Bill is once you're done with your 4 years of service of active duty or reserve. So the GI Bill works differently for reserve and active. Reserve, you have to be deployed a certain amount of times for your GI Bill to be activated 100%. So if you get deployed once with the reserves, it's like 65 or 70%. So it goes more and more until you.
So they make you chase it like you're on a treadmill.
Right, because it's active duty when you deploy.
Got
So that makes sense. But when you're doing 4 years of active service and then you want to use your GI Bill, that basically pays for your school
Mhm.
up to, I believe, 36 months of school. And plus you get a paycheck on top for going to school.
How big is the paycheck?
Depends on your area where you live.
I've heard
So-
it's like sometimes they say 500,000.
Up, do you mean the money, how much they pay for it?
No, not for school. I'm saying like, don't you get? Can you also apply for? Is it like a
You
federal
could-
loan, like 500,000 or?
You could, but here's the thing. If you don't want to use your GI Bill, you could pass it on. You could pass it on to your kid, to your wife, to whoever.
So the bill is like a grant almost, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So
you don't have to pay it back. There's no contract
No,
after
no,
you get
no.
it. After
You-
you receive it,
any school
no
you want to
strings
go
attached.
to, you want to go to Harvard. So
So it's
you
only
could
for
make it to
school.
Harvard. Yeah, only for
Gotcha.
school
Okay.
or trade school or stuff like that.
For education
right,
purposes.
right.
Okay. So some people have brought it up and they said like they could use the GI Bill or maybe it was a different bill
Mhm.
to buy a house.
No, you could buy a house. It's a VA loan.
Okay.
Reserve and active rated. Zero down payment on a house up to $475,000,
Got it.
which is it's great.
I heard that's why a lot of veterans go broke when they come back because some people spend money on a house immediately. Like the first thing they do is they put that check on a down payment, you know, and they lose it all.
Right. It also comes down to personal choices, I guess.
That's true, right?
You
Because
know.
each person is financially.
There's actually programs right now for Marines especially that have been in active duty,
Mhm.
and the transition. I forgot what the name of the program is, but there's basically like a seminar and courses where they help you to build your resume, find you a job, and secure that job,
Mhm.
and then only then they would discharge you from the military. So there's plenty. Back then it was a bigger problem where you would have homeless veterans and shit like that.
Mhm.
Like drug addicts and stuff. It died down a lot because of programs and people actually caring.
Yeah. Talking about people caring, I saw recently you're giving out presents. and
Oh yeah,
toys.
it was a Toys for Tots event. Thank you to Marines Reserve. It's actually Toys for Tots is a reserve program.
Dope. So what's it like?
Specifically Marine Reserve. So it's just handing out toys. It was a 6 Communications Battalion provided the toys, and different recruiting stations from New York area came
Mhm.
and helped out, and we donated I can't even tell you, it was a truckload of toys. Little kids of all freaking ages, backgrounds, financial situations.
That's good.
And some parents even got the toys.
So there was no checking. There was no like
No,
qualifications.
no, there's
like,
no.
let me
You
see
just come.
your
no,
annual
no.
income. Blah blah
Well,
blah.
you'll be surprised. There were some people that were coming there and they were like taking advantage of it. Clearly, they were like they had no kids on them. They're like, yeah, I have 4 or 5 kids at home, and they will pick. They're like, yeah, my kid is 12 or my kid is like 3, 4, 5. They're younger than 5, and the dude picks Monopoly. The dude picks up a RC car. You know he's getting the stuff for himself, but you can't really say anything.
Yeah, I got you. That's human nature, though.
Do you know what I'm
It's like-
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Then I see the dude in a line again. He came twice,
Wow.
and I told him, sir, like You were in line. Oh, I thought you could go most. No, you didn't. You know exactly
You
what
think
you're
some
doing.
people were trying to sell them as well?
Dude, yeah.
Trying to make money?
Absolutely, dude. This
Dude, it's capitalism, man. It's,
Dude,
you're gonna have people
it's-
that are pinching pennies.
capitalism, dude. They're just fucking crazy. You having stuff given out for free.
Mm-hmm.
And those are for kids. How evil do you have to be to? And you know the worst part was I saw some parents. There was this family, a boy and a girl and the mother, and the boy was like, I don't know if I should mention the background. That probably makes no. You know what? Doesn't matter. The boy was like, it actually does matter in the context, but
Say a story.
I don't know. So it was like it was no, you know, I'm not gonna say it. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you offline. But a family, mother and two kids, boy and a girl, and the boy was like, yeah, I want this toy, and he's like, we give him the toy, and he's like, snatches it, doesn't even say thank you, but that's fine. He's a kid. And the girl is like, she was actually very nice. She was probably like 10 or 11 years old. She was like, oh, can I get that toy, mommy? And it was like a basic toy. It was like something along like Jenga or something like that. It had like building blocks and whatever.
I love those.
And I took the toy and I gave it to her, and her mom was like, no, she needs something. She needs something else. You understand that that's a program designed for kids to be able to get whatever toys they want.
Mm-hmm.
And the mom was like, no, we need something else for her.
And
Do you understand that?
so her mom didn't let her choose.
No.
Yeah. So
And I wanted she was looking for like a more expensive toys, and she picked like the most expensive fucking Lego set over there.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just sad because the girl wanted this toy and her mother chose it for her. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that really shows you that, like, even
Dude, I just wanted, I was in uniform and all that, but I wanted to just come up to that mom and like, listen, mom, you're literally a fucking terrible parent, you know? Wow, I was so reserved just now because that's not what I was gonna say, but
No, I get what you're saying, though. Like, that shows you that even in systems where you can give back, there will be people who are
evil people.
Yeah, like, and people who are willing to take advantage. Like, not every system where you can give back to the community, or not every system where like everyone comes together is going to have this kind of like, you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Like, whether it's not even just affirmative
Dude,
action, but I'm thinking about
Take
like,
the toy and
systems.
go. Take the toy and go.
Yeah, I'm thinking about systems where like maybe even welfare, like people will take advantage, right?
Oh, don't get me.
I've seen welfare in the flesh taken advantage of on like stupid things, and I'm like, working at Seatown, I would see like, this is before like there was like regulations on what you could buy, or like I've seen people trade. I've even heard stories like you could trade your welfare, and like people were getting new rims for it. Like back in the day, you could trade your welfare money, your checks and stuff like that, and people would buy drugs with it, you know, or they could find some way of trading and bartering.
Surprise.
That's what happens. Like there are loopholes, or there's definitely there's holes in what's the word? Not giving back, but you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Dude,
spreading the wealth.
I
This is advantageous people.
have
in
you
this
ever
world.
talked about this on your podcast before? Like those topics about like.
We've gone affirmative action. My friend is in a program that says they're not, but it kind of is, but it's kind of not. So we've talked about that before. He's in college, so basically he had a scholarship, and he said all the people that won were minorities, but they claim they're not affirmative action, and it's based on merit. So they did choose their candidates based on their histories, but at the same time, it was very non-white.
How racist is that?
It's funny in this country that it's like it's almost normal to be racist to a white person. Like imagine
A standard now. That's what it is.
It is. You can bombard like all I see on TikTok is like how much I hate white people.
Yeah,
And I
but
was
you
like,
know,
imagine if it was how much I hate black people.
Yeah. But here, check this out. This is kind of like you have to be anti-white now because this is the new norm. Because if you're not anti-white, then you're fucking racist. Pretty much where it's at. I personally don't give a fuck whether you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian, fucking alien. What to me, everybody's equal. I don't see. But here's the thing. Some people don't even believe that you could be racist towards white people. They think that racism is only against minorities. They're legit fucking stupid. I will say this: they're fucking degenerates. Look at the history. Look at white people being enslaved. All kinds of people have been enslaved. Asian people have been enslaved. Hispanic people have been enslaved. Slavery still happens in
this world right now. Yeah.
In this world, in the Middle East, in parts of Africa, and it's modern day, like legitimate fucking slavery. And I'm not talking about like sitting in a factory where you're a Chinese kid and somewhere in China making Nikes, and you're a modern day slavery. I was referring to actual slavery, like fucking slaves.
It's
but
scary,
nobody's
man.
talking about that. But nobody's talking about it because it's not popular. Let's talk about slavery that was 300 years ago or 200
The one thing I
years
thought
ago.
of was like, why is it so funny to make fun of? And I think it's hilarious because it's accurate. Like most of the time, there's a joke or a stereotype. Guess what? It's based on the truth. So when people talk about Karens and white moms that are annoying and want to speak to the managers, guess what? I have a white mother. That pretty much upholds. Like it's accurate. But then why is it so normal to talk about Karens, but someone can't? Like we can't have a joke called like talking about Shaniquas, right? Because
how I was
why is that?
Yo, I was
real,
thinking
right?
about the same name.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at them. They're coming.
Whoa.
They're both racist. But here's the thing though. It's like why should I be afraid to say that? But it's so welcome to talk about Karens and shit like that. But I can't talk about like
Because you don't get it because you're racist.
exactly because
Do you understand? Do you understand? This is what they will tell you. Because you are racist inherently because you're white, so therefore you're racist and you're privileged. So
and I won't
check your
and
white
I can't
privilege.
understand it, and I can't understand it. I have this inherent.
You don't
privilege.
understand. You just
Yeah.
don't get it.
You just don't get it. Dude.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
What do Italians know? What do Americans know? What do Europeans know about war? Or like let's say the French or the English who's been in war for like thousands of years. What the fuck do they know about war? Slavic people. I don't know if they know what the word Slav came from. It came from the word slave. Because those were the people that were slaves to the Romans back in the day. So the literally being fucking Slavic came from slave, but people don't fucking know it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna do some research on that.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. And,
Well, I don't like it, but I think the symbol isn't talked about.
Right.
Enough.
So
no one talks about that.
Because that's white.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. So I don't know. You guys gotta. I feel like just move the fuck on. Move on. Keep. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, you have to move forward. Look,
I move forward. I don't hold any grudges. I don't care. Like let's say I'm from Uzbekistan originally. I'm half Uzbek, half Russian. Basically what happened during the Russian Empire came early 1900s. And they pretty much fucked everyone up in Uzbekistan. You know, that's the reason I speak Russian today. That's the reason I'm actually born, because the Russians came to modern day Uzbekistan and took over and kind of had their own doctrine over there.
so your people were colonized.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do you think
But you want to hear something crazy?
Yeah. I'm here.
Uzbek people had pretty much, they didn't have literature like that. They had their own, but the modern day for early 1900s, modern day in Uzbekistan was a shithole. And the Russians gave literature, health, medicine, culture, and stuff like that, and like science. And when the Soviet Union came, I'm completely against socialism or communism, but it did bring certain aspects of modernization to the world, and it gave Uzbekistan that much more potential that it never had.
So this is a good part about.
It never had that. It would have been freaking.
I think it's good that you get to.
It would have been a bunch of Hans sitting on their thrones with freaking donkeys and what?
I get what you're saying though. Like all their plunder.
Nothing
right?
would have happened. Yeah.
Yeah. No, because it's good that you can take what's good from situations like that.
There's
'Cause
good-
definitely there's positives and negatives.
Take good with the bad.
Yeah.
50 Cent.
Yeah. Right.
What did he say? Joy wouldn't feel so special if it wasn't for pain.
Yep.
Rain wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't. Sunshine wouldn't feel so good if it wasn't for rain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I like how you said, like you got to move on.
Yeah.
Here's my idea. It's like you have to move on. Yes, you can't forget the past because it will repeat itself.
Learn it.
Exactly. You learn it, you master it, you move forward without dwelling in the past.
But the complete opposite. Actually, the same thing is happening, but it just the races have switched, and the
I feel like this reverse racism
terms
thing,
reverse racism. What is reverse racism? That's pure racism. It's not,
Yeah,
what
thank
the
you.
fuck is
There
reverse
there
racism?
exactly. My professor was saying the same thing. He was like, I don't believe in reverse racism. There is
He
only
probably got
racism.
fired.
No. Here's the thing. He teaches a course that's very hard to teach without adding input.
You
and
mind
stuff
if
like
I?
that. Yeah, I don't care.
Just turn this way.
You do whatever you want. Basically, he was talking about there's really no reverse racism. You know,
Yeah, it's just
it's either you're
it's-
racist
or
or
not.
you're not. Exactly. But here's the thing: we all have in our own minds, we have like our own
preferences,
and stuff like that, and people do have what's the word?
bias.
Bias, exactly. But it's whether you act on that bias or not, right?
Yeah.
So I could have a preference or something like that, or I can think a certain way about certain people, and we all do have our own opinions, you know. Like, and just denying that we have different biases. Like some people try to act like they have like this clean slate mentality or like this non-color mentality, where all they see is just another soul, which is definitely inaccurate. Like each person you come across, especially being in New York City, you make judgment, you know, and you're gonna come across certain people, and when you have certain experiences with certain kind of groups, you're going to create this expectation in your head, and you can't allow each experience to follow the lines of this expectation. But at the same time, it makes sense, you know, like trends will repeat themselves. You also see that like people are like they're carrying on certain habits of the group, you know. There's also like a mob mentality in this world that we have, especially in America.
Absolutely, and to
You can face this way though.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go.
And just packing the lip. There's no about racism. That's absolute fact. That's crazy that it's happening. And but the better question is why?
Why?
Why now? Why not 20 years ago?
What do you mean?
Why is it all manifesting right now in 2020?
Why? What? Social reform?
Yeah,
Racial reform?
right.
Because haven't they repeated themselves? Are you saying like it's overdue?
I'm
Are you
not saying it's overdue.
about
I'm saying
time?
why is it happening now in 2020?
Election year. Yeah, trying to get votes, right? It makes a lot of sense that a lot of corporations are now pledging their allegiance with Black Lives Matter when you could tell that like they have histories that don't comply with that. You know?
How about Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America?
It depends what does America stand for, because a lot of people have different perceptions of what America is now. So is America a country that's based on a regime that's supposed to exploit the minorities, or is America the original intent, which was to escape from a motherland, right? Because we were a part of a system of mercantilism, right? There was a mother country, which was Britain. We separated from them because we were tired of being under their control. So we decided to create a constitution in which we can preserve our own rights and look after each other, and it could self-regulate. So if the system doesn't work, you can replace it, and rightfully so, right? You have your First Amendment to do that. So you could speak and advocate against it. So that's what the Constitution's about, right? So you can change the system you don't like. Now, people are exercising that. They're saying, we don't like our system, we're going to change it. So their view of America is very different from yours. So you may be very patriotic, but someone who is...
You know what? This is probably the best way somebody laid it out for me.
Thank you, sir.
I'm legit, like, this is a moment of clarity for me. I'm legit, I have like oh shit, you're right.
Yeah, you know?
It's not what I believe in. There's also other people that whatever the fuck they believe in.
Yeah, and I'm basically just trying my best to say what my teacher taught me in high school. Shout out Mr. Selekia and Mr. Haber as well. These they really taught me about American history and government, and they were telling me it's not the policy, it's the people. So if you want to change something, it has to come from the individual. You know, it's not the policy. Maybe the original intent. A lot of the people that did sign the Constitution were slave owners. We don't know if we know that for sure.
Well, I will say this: I will say George Washington freed his slave after he died. That was his dying wish.
Yeah,
I'm sure he. Yeah,
why keep them alive while he was alive?
I will say this: I don't know. I'm against slavery.
Why
obviously.
keep them enslaved? Sorry.
But you also got to understand, with the times, current with the times.
Mm-hmm.
If he was to go out there and say, "Hey, let's abolish slavery," you think people would support him? Realistically, back then in 1778,
no, it was the basis of the economy. You know, and he also,
you got to be on current with the times, and maybe this is what I'm lacking in my understanding, perhaps, kind of self-reflection here.
I like that.
Maybe I'm not current with the times. Maybe I really don't understand this whole wave of being woke. Maybe that is my problem.
That's a good point. I'm glad that you can bring that up, because it definitely shows an ability to not just denounce ignorance, but to kind of look at all the aspects around you. And one of the things I like how you brought up George Washington, because he had some very noble acts in his life.
He's the greatest president in the American history. He led us.
You know why?
He led us to victory. He was a general.
It's not just that. He could have been the first king. He could have been the king of America.
He gave up his power willingly after 4 years.
No. Originally, first it was he did that. He did that. He gave up,
and they wanted him back.
Well, it was 2-term president. He
was
serve 1 or 2. No, I think it was 2 terms.
But you know what it is?
Regardless,
he was against political parties.
He was
against political.
The farewell address. That's what he said.
He said it's gonna lead to a divided house, and a divided house cannot stand. And also,
beautiful. I mean, this is someone hundreds of years ago.
Absolutely
said this.
And also, well, he kind of sided with the Federalists because you know the Federalists.
At the time,
they had the Democratic
definition of federalism is very different.
Right, they were for big government, and then you had the Democratic Republicans who were in favor of states' rights. And they during the French Revolution, the Democratic Republicans were kind of in favor with France, and then you had the Federalists who were in support of England.
Well, looking at the parties back then, I could see why he was a Federalist, and I myself would have been a Federalist at the time, because we saw when the states were separated and they had their own governments, there was a different currency, a different value. They didn't exchange a lot.
Soldiers did not get. It was such a difficult task, right?
Yeah.
But when they formed the Continental Marines,
Whiskey Rebellion, remember that?
In the 17th century, I remember, I was there. Remember? Do you remember? When they formed the Continental Marines, they couldn't pay them. That was the issue during the Revolutionary War. They brought all these soldiers and Marines together, and they were unprofessional. They had very limited supplies, and they didn't get paid for years after the war because they couldn't figure out how we pay them. So the states had to kind of put in the money, then the federal government, and that was kind of the reason why the federal government became the federal government.
Exactly. Yeah, they couldn't pay. The economy was failing because we had different currencies, and different rates of exchanging. And at the same time, when we tried to put down a whiskey rebellion that was going on, they couldn't handle it. The states themselves couldn't stop it. So what did they do? George Washington got his troops and led them himself. That was the first and last time a president has ever gone.
Badass.
Imagine, that's the definition of a leader. That's the epitome of leadership, leading from within. Because a lot of times we have people that sit in chair and they give you orders, and it's really annoying. And I like your respect for your drill sergeants and stuff like that, because
Drill instructors. Army has drill sergeants. We
Sergeants,
have drill
sorry.
instructors.
Thank you for that. So your drill instructors were with you. Like when you're doing this course and training, they're yelling at you. They're running with you.
You want to
they're
hear
doing the
something
push-ups
crazy?
With you,
You
right?
want to hear something crazy? Not every drill instructor does. My drill instructors did that.
I like that. And that's
Some drill instructors like, yo, I'm not going through the mud and low crawling through the mud. Our drill instructor, we had to. There was an obstacle. It was probably 50 feet of mud. But when I say mud, I mean like
sludge.
you're in the mud. Like not even 50 feet. It could have been 100. And he made us do it all over 7-8 times, and he did every single time. He did it with us.
And that motivates you. To
And he's a senior drill instructor. He's in charge.
That's good. I wonder why he's at that position. You know, it's the initiative. I like that. I like hearing shit like that.
He led by example.
I fuck with that.
Every other drill instructor like, oh, I'm not. Fuck this. You know, they're recruits. I'm a Marine.
Yeah.
I don't have to do this shit. But he did it.
I feel like there's a side to America people don't want to look at, and whether it's present right now, because everyone's like, fuck the military, you know, they're just a bunch of ignorant assholes. Look, I get it. There's a lot of pride in being in the military, so you might come across personalities that are stronger than what you're used to. But at the same time, even looking at history alone, there are some very respectable things that I've seen in history that people don't want to give credit for. Like, we could have had the first king in the United States, and he decided to give that up. We could have had presidents that would continue slavery, and we had presidents that they said there was this thing about like what's it called, Abraham Lincoln,
The founder of the Republican Party, freed the slaves.
Yeah, but they were like, oh, it wasn't to free the slaves, it was just to unify the country. So he did that as a ploy,
Perhaps.
you know? But regardless, we are here now because of those actions. We have FDR, very democratic, right, and helping the community. We saw two different aspects.
Social Security.
Exactly. We saw two different sides of the state and the people. And in the beginning, we saw how states alone cannot work. You need a unified body, right? And once you go on, like
The Bill of Rights. They agreed to uphold the Bill of Rights.
Exactly. And ratifying the Bill of Rights, you have Madison and was it Jefferson? Madison and somebody else. But basically, they were going around and they had their articles and they're passing them around. And who was the person that was going against them? It was Brutus. So Brutus was an anonymous person, and they were going around passing these bills to be ratified, and they're making these documents. And basically, they were giving their reasons for why the United States should come together as one. And now we see it as one. And when a group has a giant,
you talking about the Federalist Papers?
yes,
Right. It was
yes.
John Jay wrote two of them.
Biggest one was Madison.
and
Jefferson? No. Marbury? No. It's
Jefferson.
Marbury.
I think it's Jefferson.
Jefferson? Yeah. So Madison, I know he has the biggest impact. And basically, when you're part of something like the United States, or when you're part of a big group, it's really hard to keep one exact goal in mind. You know, it's like talking about your group in the Marines. Like when you go through the training, right, training camp and stuff like that. When you have your group with the same cause, it's easier when the group is small. But when the group becomes really big, like the United States, we don't all have the same interpretation. We can't work like a giant.
We all have different backgrounds.
Exactly.
Where's your family from?
Sicily and Italy.
And my family's from Uzbekistan. I came here in 2008. Obviously, I'm gonna bring something of my own.
So you're an immigrant.
I am.
Congrats.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like seeing someone that can not only integrate, but that you can acclimate to a new society, and it's not easy.
Well,
you know?
this is
it isn't easy.
This is what was that? That is integration. That is integration. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the finest. I think the highest achievement is in America could be coming from a different background, or at least trying to understand America itself. You know,
Yeah.
and acclimating. It's not easy.
A lot of people come here and they don't feel American.
But America is more of an identity, and I understand the American.
It is absolutely. It's not a color. It's not a race. It's not a religion.
It's an identity, and I think we need to change that because like a lot of people don't understand, or maybe I have a different understanding than them. But the way I see America is like, yes, the American dream has changed, and they love bringing that up in English class because like it really depicts how whiteness in America has like affected a lot of people. And yes, there's been supremacists and white regimes
absolutely.
that have destroyed this country, and I think the founding principles were very sound. Like a lot of people that talk about denouncing the Constitution, have you read the Constitution? Have you gone into depth about the Federalist Papers? I mean, I've read documents that I hated, 24-page papers that like they use this archaic this language that makes no sense to me, but I sat there with my teacher and he would read us through it. And I mean, we're reading these papers and we're talking about Montesquieu and Madison and all these different papers, Supreme Court cases, and we're talking about how ambition counteracts ambition, right? If you want a system to uphold itself, let it uphold itself, right? Because it will fight. Like people have ambition naturally, right? So if you don't want one party, whether or not George Washington advocated for parties and denounced it, regardless, ambition will counteract ambition. You can take it if you need it.
Real quick.
Got it. All right, so we were talking about ambition, right?
Yeah.
And government and stuff like that. So like when you have a big government, it's really hard to, or just a big group in general, it's really hard to have an idea or a goal that allocates or accommodates for everybody, right? And having a system like that where ambition counteracts ambition, you have the legal system, right? You have the House and you have the Senate, and they block each other. You have like Congress itself is very confusing. You have the president, you have the veto. So basically, there's all these checks and balances in the government, and people don't understand that. Like, yes, you may vote a president in, but it's really hard to pass a bill or legislation when the House is not usually with you, or if the Senate is against you, stuff like that. And upon electing these chairs and people in Congress and Supreme Court justices, the Supreme Court is not supposed to be biased.
It's not.
They may have a political affiliation, but I feel like part of it now is just it's having a ploy in the seat. But originally, the original intent of the Supreme Court is to read the documents, read the Constitution, and interpret whether or not this case applies and whether it it overcomes certain guidelines or it stays within the boundaries, you know? And now a lot of times we see people with different intent and different, I would say, perspectives, adding their input into legislation, and the Supreme Court is where a lot of change comes from. And I mean, like you saw it with Little Rock 9, stuff like that, or that was what's it called? When the president, and that was an executive order, and people think that executive orders are just like anytime the president feels like it's like fuck it, executive order, press the button, and we're just gonna launch blah blah blah, or we're just gonna do this and do that. That's not how it works. There's a lot of regulation behind a president, and it's really hard to create a regime.
President is very limited in what he can actually do.
But his influence is different. The social aspect. So the bully pulpit, having a Twitter. This is the first time we see a president really interact with the people.
Yeah,
besides
that's true. That's true. Yeah, absolutely true.
Right, because he can not only can he manipulate if he wants to, which is definitely possible. He can reach them a lot more easily than press, and his words are unfiltered. We've seen the bad sides of being unfiltered, but you can also appreciate the positive aspects of being unfiltered because they cannot take his words, mangle them up. We're not reading it in a paper 3 days later. It's not traveling by word across the country. Like when George Washington was elected president.
Oh, dude, people don't. It took a while.
Yo, they didn't know wars were over back then until months after. People were fighting. There was deaths.
The War of 1812, Battle of New Orleans. The war was over for like two weeks, and they were still fighting.
Yep,
it's crazy.
And some guy was like, "Dude, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
He's waving his white flag and his little underwear on a stick. He's like, "Guys, we're done." You know, it's crazy. So communication is definitely really important. That's the good side of the media, and then we see the bad side. It's where the media leans one way, and they'd rather not consider a viewpoint.
There is no
because
good.
It doesn't comply.
There is no good media outlet. CNN, ABC, MSNBC, Fox News, garbage. All of them garbage.
You can really tell the bias, and I feel like
I mean, Fox News is pretty much on the same page with them. They used to be more conservative, but it's really not. Fox News is not conservative anymore.
No,
it's just like CNN now.
They're just trying to get views. I feel like people are sacrificing their integrity for numbers, for views, for money.
It shouldn't be conservative or liberal or Democrat. It should be
flat out news.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do that, there is something like that. It's called C-SPAN.
C-SPAN? Never heard about that.
So it's the government. It's federally provided. It's on every cable network. I swear to God.
I never even heard.
But it sucks, and this is why it sucks. It's because you're watching it and there is no filter. What the news will do, they'll have a Supreme Court case. You will watch the opening statement, every single objection. You'll have to listen to every single statement, every single witness, blah blah blah, until you get to the end. Sometimes it takes 12 hours. Sometimes it takes 4. What the news does is they take the important parts, all you need to know, this quote, that quote. Final ending.
I mean, you could manipulate it in so many ways.
Exactly, but if you watch C-SPAN, you're getting every single piece. You're listening to every single statement, and it's your job.
C-SPAN
to make a decision. And I really like that part. We learned that in class as well, because they were like, "What news outlet can we learn from that does not change the outlook?" And it's the literal interpretation. And I think people who really know their shit watch C-SPAN, and usually most of the time it's elderly people. these are also the people who vote the most, you know?
Yeah.
Most incumbents in the Senate are 90% likely, right, to return to their seat.
Right.
And that is because the elderly vote, and also because because people, like, the retention in the Senate, and whether it's voting or not, like,
You think we should
younger
have
generations will
senator term limits?
I mean, you see someone like Schumer,
Dude,
and
this dude,
who did Ocasio-Cortez, who did she take out of power?
I don't know.
But she did a hell of a job because he was complacent, and he was sitting there. He got tired. I had a friend that was here. He was on the podcast. He's a campaign manager for a local councilman.
Oh, I've seen the guy with glasses.
Yeah, Freddie. And he was telling me that this guy that Ocasio-Cortez went up against, he was complacent. He was in his seat for a while, and basically for him, he was like, yeah, I'm going to win the election again. And she took him by storm, and she won. And it was crazy because, like, wait, what was your question? It was, should there be a limit?
Yeah.
I think there should be a limit. Yeah.
Senate terms. This is
Like-
crazy. This is
Like any kind,
how's this not tyranny?
like any kind of seat, there should be a limit,
Yeah.
right? With the president, with government. I mean, local, federal,
Dude,
state.
why don't we have senator terms? Well, because they have all the power. Senators have all the power.
Yeah, but
The Senate is fucking.
that needs to be addressed. That needs to be addressed. A good system is one that's self-regulating and constantly changing.
Yeah.
If you look at the Enigma in World War II, the ones that the Germans used to speak via radio,
U-boats?
yeah, and U-boats, exactly, yeah. What were they doing every day? They were changing their
Right.
language.
Yep.
Not because they were hiding, it was secret, but I'm talking about, like, there's also a really good part about being cyclical and changing every single day and having this regulation. It's because you're
Unpredictable.
renewing it. It's unpredictable and it's renewing itself. Every time it re-identifies and it renews, there's aspects that they can learn about the last time that we're gonna either leave out or we're gonna add new things, you know?
Dude, I can't believe you're 18. You're so fucking smart.
Thank you, sir.
Dude, that's
I'm
crazy.
just taking what I've
the
been
fuck do they
told.
teach you at Metropolitan? That's crazy.
Dude,
they teach a lot.
I had some great staff, bro. Like, the teachers there were phenomenal. I hated reading those documents, but I took AP Gov. Honestly, one of the best classes I ever took in my life.
Incredible.
Because I learned so much. I was like, why is the media talking about this? Like, they want social reform, but they don't know how to make it. And I'm like, if you want change, you can't always scream and shout. And I understand you need to create noise. Yes, protests and civil protests. Bro, I'm 100% with that. But at the same time, if you do not take legislative action, kiss that shit goodbye, because nothing will happen. You know.
Absolutely.
So you need someone that has a seat like that, and I really want to have a politician on eventually, where we could, like, you know what, let's do our own little form of change. Whether we're making a stop sign somewhere or we're doing this or that, I want to show the people that it's possible. It starts with the grassroots. It starts with the people, and from all walks of life, all colors, all preference, all perspectives can make change. And we have someone that's going to teach us that, and that's what I'm really trying to do, you know. And that's what Metro taught me.
That's a nice high school. I thought it was just a bunch of clowns, but
I was one of the clowns. I mean, the student body is a bunch of clowns. Yeah. The kids are funny there.
high school. I feel like high school kids are the scariest people in the world.
Yeah, because they're unpredictable.
Yeah,
There's
dude.
a bunch of idiots.
Dude,
Yeah.
I cross the street when I see them.
Yeah, man. We had in my high school, they raided the CVS.
What?
Yeah, it was like a riot in there for no reason. It was just a bunch of kids. It was like 40, 50 freshmen and kids that didn't go to Metro. A lot of them did, and they just wrecked it. They caused, I think, $10,000 in damage. They're knocking over shelves, stealing a lot of snacks and shit, just throwing shit. There was a pregnant woman in there who got bumped. I don't know if she fell, but, like, that was when I kind of got pissed off, because I was like, all right, if that's my mother, if that's my sister, if that's my daughter, and she's pregnant and she has a baby. Like, there's a lot of chaos with the mob mentality in high school. It was a great school, but you're gonna have a bad batch in every group.
Dude, I went to
You know what I'm
Newtown. That was
Newtown. When I was in high school, there was a bunch of stabbings in Newtown.
yeah.
And I was like, thank God I didn't go there.
Yeah, I was when I was there as well.
Wait, stabbings were like regular?
Well, not regular, but they happened a few times, 2-3 times over the course of 4 years.
I noticed one thing about, like, school security, and we were talking about just national security before, but, like, my school does not take the the precautions to look out for our safety. And it's not their fault. It's legislative fault. So, like, our security officers, great people. They do their jobs. They're very communicative, but they're not allowed to carry.
That's I was gonna go there. Why can't we have them carry guns?
Dude, we don't have a metal detector. See, this is the problem with schools. They wait for something bad to happen
and then they're like
to react. They're reactive instead of proactive.
Absolutely. Why can't they have guns? Why can't school security have guards?
Because they feel like,
guns.
Can we trust this person
Yeah, absolutely.
in a school zone? Is it safe around children?
But he's not gonna be the only one with a gun.
Here's the thing. I said it every time. Not every time I walked in, but I thought about it a lot, and I was like, and I brought it up to faculty, and I was like, Miss or Mrs. I was like, look. If I walked in here with a gun, and before you react, just listen to me. I was like, there's no metal detector. No one's checking me. I could have walked in. I can assemble a gun. I could bring a piece and assemble an AR in my locker. I can go to the bathroom and light this bitch up. Like, I was like, unfortunately, this is so realistic, and what was going to prevent
And it
it?
actually happens.
I was like, I could kill all of my classmates. Do you understand that? Like, that can happen. And she was like, yeah, but it's not our choice. And I brought it up to the faculty, and I was like, would you mind talking about this? Because originally the podcast was supposed to be at school, and I wanted to have some of the security there. Like, we can't talk about it. I was like, this is the problem. You can't talk about it. But like, I could have brought a gun in and killed people, bro. That's so sick. Because think about it. I have a little sister that goes to that school. Someone can walk in and have a really bad
day.
Yeah,
or fucking mental or whatever it is. I don't care. I don't fucking care about his intent.
And we don't even
Point
know.
being, he got to be stopped.
Exactly. And like, if no one's there to stop him, who should? Because I know kids that have had weapons in their bag. I know kids that have said they've brought a gun to school. I know kids that have brought a lot of shit. But you know what's crazy? They make a bigger stink about weed in the school than they do about weapons.
Which is a big problem.
Which is a fucking issue,
big
bro.
Problem.
It's
Why?
such an
Why?
issue.
I don't understand why can the security guards have guns. I don't. It's the idea of having guns in school. So the fuck what? We have guns everywhere.
And
all these politicians talking about guns. They have bodyguards with guns.
Dude, you want to hear something crazy? My friend, his name is John Barbu. He went to Parkland High School.
Okay.
Stoneman Douglas.
Shit.
Yeah, and he was there for the experience. He told me because he originally lived in Glendale, and he moved to Florida out there, and he goes to that school. He just graduated, and he was there when the school shooting happened. And they had different blocks. I think he was in block B.
Mm-hmm.
The shooter came into A or C first, and then made his way around. And by the time it was over, I don't know if he got to all three buildings. I'm not sure about the exact things, but what he told me, his experience was terrifying. He never came face to face with the shooter. He didn't see stuff like that, but the noise was there, and the reaction. Remember the police officer, the one guy that was armed,
and
his reaction.
Right.
His reaction.
Yep.
That was a person who was armed, and he didn't do anything. So it really does come down to like how someone. It comes down to who has the weapon. And who's on the good side, who's on the bad side, but also like I feel like if there was more people, if there was more security looking out for our kids, you know, like these are the generations. Like we need to protect them. We're so worried about crossing guards than we are like people coming in with malintent, you know, like looking to wreak havoc in like amongst our kids,
Yep.
our brothers and sisters, our cousins, our friends, you know. Like I treat my friends like my family. And if they got killed, or their little siblings got killed, bro, it would hurt just as much.
Yep.
As just seeing like a loved one, you know?
Any loss of life is a tragedy.
It really is. It is, man. And like I feel like we don't take enough precautions, and especially in New York State because like the non-carry issue.
This is the most fucking anti-gun state in the
you can't even
country.
carry. You can't carry.
No.
But here's the thing: like if someone has bad intent, if someone's coming into my house, and I'm saying it right now, like when I'm older, I will have a gun in my house. I will.
No, you have to be 18.
That's true. But I don't know about New York State. But
you could apply for a shotgun license right now.
In your house?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It was $375. They'll probably deny you. You'll have to apply multiple times, and
okay.
That's why I don't. That's why I don't even try. That's why I don't have guns because you can't even.
Here's another thing that you might have light on. A lot of people think obtaining a gun is very easy. They're like, you could just get a gun.
It's not.
It's
easy.
not. They're like
having a gun.
Yeah, they're like, we need to change the NRA rules
Dude,
because I can go to Dick's Sporting Goods.
No, you cannot.
Maybe
try it.
Wait, are you talking about New York State or
New York City? New York City, you cannot fucking get a gun.
What about another state where you can buy the gun, but you have to buy the ammo separately, or you have to have a license first? Like people think you can just go into Dick's Sporting Goods. Can you? Can you go into a Dick's Sporting Goods, get a shotgun and
New
ammo?
York?
No, in America. Let's say like you're
you will
out
have
the West.
Say you're in New Hampshire. Say you're a New Hampshire state resident. You could go to a gun store, and you would have to submit your documents, which is your state ID. They would send it to the FBI. They would do a background check. It could take anywhere from 20 minutes to get a reply from them to a few hours.
I've heard about like a 9-month wait.
Well, I'm talking about specifically New Hampshire because I had a buddy in New Hampshire. He was a New Hampshire state resident.
Okay.
He purchased a firearm.
Got it.
He just walked in a store. It was a gun store. Submitted his paperwork, and they reached out to the FBI. 20-minute reply. Walked out with a gun. It's easy there, but also New Hampshire has one of the lowest murder rates per capita.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
How it can regulate itself?
Yep.
It's because like here's the thing. It's kind of like
criminals will always get guns.
Exactly. No matter how legal it is or illegal,
they will find it.
Yo, if we make it illegal, the market just went up.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
Absolutely.
Because now there's more value.
Yep.
Now they can price certain things. It's like drugs almost. It's like making it illegal to smoke weed is just going to increase the profits.
Yeah, and New Hampshire, you could conceal carry, open carry. No problem. That's normal. I feel safer around guns. I feel safer when I know people have guns.
You know why? It's because both sides can react. So let's say someone doesn't have malintent. There's going to be someone who's looking out for each other.
Yep, absolutely.
Who's going to help you? Because sometimes you can't wait for medical personnel. You can't wait for backup. You have
Nope.
to take it upon yourself sometimes
Absolutely.
to make change, to look out for yourself.
Train.
The one thing I don't like about the NYPD is that like they talk about just tearing down the NYPD, dumbest shit I've ever heard. Because you need regulation, you need to control chaos.
Self-community policing. How's it working out?
I know, right? It doesn't.
Fucking pathetic.
Well, people might say like New Hampshire is different, but I don't like how New York State or in New York City specifically, cops have to pay for their own range time. They get once a year.
Are you serious?
On the
I never knew that. I never knew that.
They have to pay for their own ammo, their own range thing.
Oh, that's expensive.
Because once a year they get to go into the range.
I thought they qualified twice a year, if I'm not mistaken.
Maybe it is twice a year, but other than that, is that enough practice?
No.
Is 2 times?
No, absolutely not.
2 out of 365. Is that enough to train a police officer? Hell no. And I know cops that'll tell me they're like, I go in often, or I go in once a month, or every 2 weeks.
I'm not gonna.
With my buddies,
I'm not talking down on cops, but some of them fucking suck.
No. You know what I really don't like? I don't like seeing a cop that is
with
overweight.
firearms. With firearms.
Oh, you're talking about shooting? Okay.
Yeah,
no, for
shooting.
me, I never liked seeing cops that are overweight or really unhealthy or lazy. And I've seen these attributes, and I'm like, if you're supposed to protect us, if you are the first responder, and I see habits like sitting back and eating donuts, how are you supposed to protect the kids? How are you supposed to protect the old women and the homeless? Because they also need protection. Like, there's a lot of homeless people that are killed and shit like that. Like, or it's street beefs. How are you supposed to respond to be fit? You know, if you can't even uphold a certain standard. And that's what I think that needs to be changed. You know, a certain standard of fitness.
You know where it all began? All these problems. All the problems with violence, all the illegal guns and people committing all these violent crimes. Parenting.
It all starts in the house?
Absolutely. Because we're getting 2020 America, we are actively getting rid of idea of a nuclear family. A mom, a dad, a son, a daughter. Now it's like, yeah, I could be a strong, independent woman. I don't need a man.
Oh, here's something that I definitely see in my life. Not myself. Well, I do. As a man, I don't like how women say you can't have a man-to-man talk with your father. It's person to person. And I just want to address this. Like, as a man, you need a male role model in your life.
Absolutely. You absolutely
And I
do.
hate when women tell me that that's not true. Because you cannot speak in my shoes. If you are not a man, you don't understand that there's...
Father for discipline.
And there's also communication, understanding yourself, even just emotional. It's like harder. Men don't communicate as well as women. Women have mastered that. And we're just trying to catch up. But at the same time, it's like, there has to be certain kind of connection and a father figure. And we've seen the demographics in like really bad neighborhoods and especially people
fatherless homes.
People that go down south in the path of life usually don't have a father figure. And this is speaking about males. And I have friends that have lost their fathers. And they've told me about the absence of a father figure was really hard for them. You know, they did compensate. Thankfully, they had their mothers because a mother is just as important as a father, you know? But there's give and take. And the feedback you're going to get from your mother and your father is always going to be different.
I grew up in a single parent family with my mom.
Gotcha.
So she carried me and my sister.
Kudos,
and me.
you know. Shout out to mom.
I think I grew up pretty normal, you know, with my own shortcomings, but I think overall I'm not retarded.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, but like, how would you think? Like, where did you look or outsource for father figures, or is it like older brother, older friend?
The relationship with my mother is very open. I could tell her anything. I'll be able to tell my dad.
Gotcha.
And she's very supportive of my decisions, and I wouldn't say she gave me a lot of discipline. She was she let me do anything I want, which is not a good thing. But where I found that father figure is kind of like the Marine Corps.
That's good. The
discipline.
It was later in life that
absolutely, yes.
Got it. And I feel like any time in life is the right time.
Yep.
It's better than never, you know?
Absolutely.
Better late than never, because you could still learn. And I've spoken to kids that have lost their fathers, like passed away and shit like that. And it's really sad, you know? It's unfortunate to hear about. And but when you learn about stuff like that, like not having a father figure, you realize the importance. Like only until it's gone do you realize how necessary it is when it's there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You don't know what you have until it's gone.
And exactly, having a mother figure is maybe sometimes more important.
Yep,
like, depends absolutely. On the case, because you need to be able to communicate. And I learned that from being in a matriarch household and majority women. I realized that communication is number one.
If you don't mind me asking, what kind of family did you grow up in?
So, father, mother, 3 sisters.
Okay.
1 younger, 2 older.
That's so cute. Yeah. Are they here?
They're upstairs. Aww. Yeah, I told them not to make any noise or I'm going upstairs and destroying shit. Yeah.
Shut up, guys. Shut up.
They're all getting a knuckle sandwich.
Yeah. That's very sweet.
Now, sometimes I have to threaten them just to make my sister to not make a lot of noise. Yeah. I'm like, if I have to come up here, bro, I am going to suplex you.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like, being comfortable around your siblings. Do you have siblings?
I do have one sister. She's in New Orleans. She's going to medical school. And, yeah, and I have a half brother, half sister. They live in Uzbekistan from my father's side.
Got you. So growing up, did you live in the same household as your sister?
Yes.
She younger than you, older than you?
She's older. She's 30 years. She's turning 30 tomorrow.
Happy early birthday, sis.
Happy birthday.
What's
Early
her
birthday. Oigul.
Oigul.
Yep. Oigul. Happy birthday. I got a little surprise for you tomorrow, not today, so wait on that.
All right. But growing up in the house with her, I feel like it was.
Yeah, we used to fight a lot. Oh my god,
dude. Yeah, but
she almost stabbed me one time, dude.
Yeah,
she used to chase me around the house with a knife.
Me and my sisters, I would always practice my wrestling moves on them. You know, like the suplex, the 619, the Batista bomb.
That's fire.
The FU. You know, you put them on your shoulders and you flip them over. I mean, like that's also another thing.
Traumatizing.
It's like being in. Like I didn't need brothers growing up to still be a boy. You know, because like it didn't change me. I also had my friends, my guys, that were kind of like my brothers. They filled that role for me. But also having sisters in the household is like they're very versatile, you know?
Yeah.
They are, because they dealt with a lot of shit that I made them put up with, you know? Like whether it was just
sometimes they have cute friends.
Yeah. Unfortunately not always, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's really different how each household works, you know? And it definitely comes down to the household. I'm glad you brought that up.
Parenting. When I can't wait to be a father. One day I'm gonna be a father, so I think I'm gonna be a good dad.
How many kids you want?
2.
I want 10.
What?
Yeah, I want like 8 to 10.
That's good.
I want a little fucking militia.
That is a really good idea. A little militia.
No, but not like obviously. We won't be militant, but like
yeah.
I like competition. So for me, it's like when you feed off one another without comparing, because competition creates condition. And if I feel like an only child at the same time, I don't want to have an only child because there's times when I felt like I was alone, and like I've seen only children, and I'm like, if only they had a sibling, they would realize how different life is, you know. But I can't speak about their perspective because I'm not an only child, you know. But I just think like having siblings around, even just one other person to talk to, and especially more than that, having several, because I have 3 sisters and they're all very different personalities.
Really?
Yeah, very. Like 2 of them are similar. We're all very different and also very the same. You know what I'm saying? We're also very alike, but very different at the same time. So it's like you can learn from versatility within the household. But when you're an only child, the only feedback you get is from mom and dad. But when you have siblings, you can clash a lot and you can make up. So like in the real world, in school, you can't always clash with your friends. Eventually you do, right? Because that's natural. But with your siblings, there's a lot more learning. Like you see cubs in the wild, they're always fighting and training each other.
Yep.
They're sharpening their senses and their tools. For us, we're not just sharpening our physical senses and like shit like that, but like communication. I've learned from the way I respond to my sisters or the way they talk to me, how the response I'm gonna get in the real world. So let's say like I'm having an argument. If I address them a certain way, I'm gonna get this kind of feedback. If I'm trying to push a point and my prerogative and it clashes with their identity, then it's not going to work. So sometimes I have to come logically, or sometimes you have to approach emotionally. You know, it's kind of like this whole military thing. It's like arguing.
Very, very smart.
Arguing or arguments themselves are opposed like war. You know, it's like, all right, if we can't work this out, let's flank. Or if we're going to come out with this, and we're not going to trick them and come behind, but we're going to approach them with a different idea that they didn't expect. You know, or like we're going to give them insight or perspective that wasn't originally there. You know,
that is very smart.
Thank you, sir.
Damn.
These are some things I think about like when I'm arguing with them, because I'm like, why isn't it working? Why isn't my point getting across? Why is it so emotional? And I feel like that's another thing with women.
I was just gonna say that.
It's like, why does it always have to take the emotional route over the logical?
It's hard to stay logical with them.
But this is realistic, and some people are gonna be upset. Like, women are logical. Yes, they are. Of course they are.
But they're more emotional than men, generally. I mean, nowadays men are like fucking betas themselves.
Yeah, no, but we've seen a lot of men that also ignore their emotional side. And there has to be balance, you know.
Right. No, I'm not talking
about the male and the female. Is really
being an alpha is not having no fucking feelings and not being able to talk about your feelings. Being an alpha is being able to identify those feelings and talk with people.
Yeah, and ownership, man.
Yeah.
Like if you could take responsibility for what you do, for what you've done, and also like for who you are to become.
Yes.
That's an alpha. An alpha is someone who's not really afraid to show their faults and their weaknesses. You know.
Absolutely.
That's baller as shit. Like if you could talk about your failures with pride.
Yes.
And move forward with your chest up.
Yep.
Arch back.
Everybody makes mistakes. It's fine.
Oh yeah.
You keep going. You keep going. You don't stop. Because time waits for no man.
Yeah. That's true. It just keeps moving
Stop
forward.
being stuck in the past.
Yeah. I feel like some people hold on to the past a lot, and naturally we all do, you know?
Yeah.
There's some times where I'm like, I wish I didn't do this, but I feel like now I'm able to move on quicker.
People are afraid of change, and change is constant.
Because change comes with reflection.
Yep.
and it's really hard to reflect. And that's why another thing, like having women in my life helps me, because their ability to communicate and to come as like their approach. I feel like with men, it's always like, it depends what kind of man you're talking to, whether it's your friend or like or a senior. It's very different. But having my sisters, I'm able to regulate myself or like take their points into consideration, because women are very smart about their approach. So like, first thing they'll do is compliment you. And I feel like it's very fake sometimes, because women like are hyping each other up, like, oh my god, there's a lot of fake compliments and fake stuff like that. But I definitely like the aspect where it's like you can tell them what they've done right, because they want to hear that. People want their respect. They want to understand what they've done right, but also then
Recognition.
exactly, once you establish what they should recognize, then you should bring up how they can change this or that. So it's like, look, I like how you did this.
Constructive criticism.
Exactly, yeah. I'm impressed by how you did blah blah blah. I do think this needs some work. Okay, and when you get that from guys, it's like it's very different how men communicate. Yeah. It's usually blunt.
Yeah.
They don't.
Dude, you're fucking retarded.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And there's good and bad to both, because men being blunt, it helps you move forward quicker. Women that like to romanticize certain aspects of life, it helps them. No, it's also a disadvantage.
Romanticizing things.
Yeah.
Damn, I romanticize the Marine Corps.
Oh, like how it's like the greatest place on earth.
Marines, but I love it.
Nah, I got you. Yeah, you gotta have something that you enjoy in life. Actually, speaking of, I like your shirt. Yeah. If you want to show it to the
thank you.
The camera.
This is actually from my very
show the
good friend Paul. Paul, this is
what is that
the
snake?
shirt you got from me? Gadsden flag. I actually have it on my chest right here too.
Really? Let me see. Show the camera.
America 1775. Don't tread on me.
76.
Oh, I was talking about the Marine Corps 1775, 1760. I always get confused because Marine Corps is November 10th, 1775. It's Continental Marines, and then it's 1776, the Constitution and the United
States.
So
the Marines were here before the U.S.
Yes, it was Continental Marines.
Wow.
Founded in a tavern, Pennsylvania, in a bar. And they founded the Marine Corps in a bar. Can you imagine just people coming up like, yo, fuck it, let's make the Marines? And that's how it went. So with this, we were talking about women, so talking about.
What's your question?
Oh yeah, the shirt. So it's the Gadsden flag, and on the back it has the history of the American flags and Union Jacks and stuff.
Union Jacks.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Damn,
that's dope. There's a lot of flags.
Yeah.
So is that
history of defiance?
Is that snake the one from
that's
Join or Die?
Yeah. They used to be no, that's not the Join or Die. That's the Don't Tread on Me. Join or Die is very similar. It was like the different.
Oh, but
states.
it's the squiggle one, and that's the one that's chopped up.
Yeah.
I
So
gotcha.
kind of represents the Don't Tread on Me because it's a rattlesnake. Mm-hmm. It doesn't attack until it gets fucked with and it makes a noise.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing is on the tattoo, it actually has 13 rattles
for the colonies.
Yeah. So without one another, because if a rattlesnake doesn't have one of its rattles, it's not gonna make the noise.
Gotcha.
So it's not gonna be.
So each piece is just as important.
Absolutely. United we stand, divided we fall.
Yep. I like that.
Yeah.
I like your input because a lot of people, especially coming from a military background, you have a more patriotic stance, and a lot of people are all about destroying America.
USA for the win.
See, here's the thing. I think we have to rebuild and redefine ourselves without destroying what we have, because history does matter. We can learn from it, but at the same time, like there are certain values that need to be changed. Like we were talking about, like Jim Crow era is something that you have to move forward while still learning about it, but without living in
those times, because we're not in those fucking times.
We're not. You can't live in that anymore. You can't act like that is reality right now. I understand institutions like the prison system, they're making money. There's capital gain on prison. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched 13th, where like the collars and the bracelets they're using and the shackles in prison are being profited? It's prison.
Wait, what?
Prison right now is like it's just.
What about
capitalism.
the shackles? What about?
People are making money from the anklets and the bracelets in prison. Yeah, stuff like that.
Never heard about what?
I would go more into detail if I knew more about it specifically. But basically, prison, the higher capital, like the more people you have in a prison, the more money you can make because they're privately owned. There's more incentive to have people.
But what if you just didn't commit the crime? You wouldn't do the time. I'm just saying. Nobody is forced. That's a good one.
Because what if someone just has an eighth of weed and they get 20 years of prison?
That's some fucking crazy shit.
I don't agree with that. I don't
Neither do I.
Who are they harming? I understand they're putting something out there that
white collar crime, if anything, is more important than blue collar crime.
Yo, people don't talk about that.
Fucking insurance fraud. What?
Yeah, bro. Dude, white collar crime is the biggest thing.
I'm saying in general.
It's not crime.
We should, people going to jail for weed, especially.
Keep going.
For like minuscule amounts, they shouldn't be in jail. I agree with that. There should definitely be there is already a reform, but they shouldn't be fucking going to jail for fucking weed.
Mm-hmm.
The fuck?
That's ridiculous, bro.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But someone who commits murder,
It's a fucking plant.
yeah. Murder is a lot different, though.
Yeah, of course. Murder.
What's your view on rehabilitation? Do you think prison works? Because I know it doesn't.
No.
I haven't been there,
It doesn't fucking work, no.
It's just you're just holding them in the cell because they're threats to society, but like,
and there's
no point of having a. It's like
I feel like if you're a violent criminal who's going around fucking robbing people and fucking shooting people, definitely spend your fucking time in jail. I don't give a fuck about you coming back to society. I personally don't.
If you are a threat to my family, all I have to do is think about like if my daughter or my sisters would be in danger, then
you don't look if you fucking kill somebody. Or like fucking shot up a school. You should never be back into society.
Posting bonds like for shooters and shit like that.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But if
life.
But if are we talking about the same person? Are we talking about the same person?
Are we talking about the guy that was at the
Kyle?
Yeah. So did he have like this complex, like a hero complex, or like?
I don't know. I think the dude was defending himself, to be honest.
I saw the video. I've seen two different sides of it, where it was like the kid comes on the scene, starts shooting people.
Dude,
America, hoorah! Yeah. And there's also another video. That was one polarized view, and then there's another view on the other side. It's like he comes to this, blah blah blah. Someone attacked him. He was provoked. He was defending himself.
And that other dude who was a convicted pedophile pulled out a gun on him, and he shot him first.
Exactly. I mean, if both guns are drawn, then
faster draw right there.
But then why are they highlighting this one kid with a gun when there's more people on the other side that have guns?
And AKs. And they're convicted felons.
Mm-hmm.
Pedophiles. I think pedophiles deserve the death penalty. They deserve the guillotine. They deserve the rope. They deserve the fucking
trick.
They deserve the firing squad. Fuck pedophiles.
Yeah, hell yeah. Yo, to the top, bro. You know why? It's because like that is so disgusting. Like rape.
Dude, if somebody, I will fucking, oh my god, bro, I would fucking.
Just thinking about it, dude,
I would do some wild shit. I would fucking.
I would act out. I would put myself in jail if that ever happened to someone I loved.
I would fucking.
I'd be like, just arrest me now before I mutilate this person. Because like something about pedophiles, I'm disgusted with.
This is to me personally that I think that's one of the worst crimes you could ever commit. Having fucking sex with a minor. Imagine you're a grown ass man, 20, 30 fucking years old, and you're going out there after 12-year-olds, boys, girls. God damn, I just want to fucking grab them, fucking look them in the eyes as they're running out of air while I'm choking them. You know what I'm saying? God damn, how do you feel now? You know.
Imagine like being that person though. Like, nah, I can't. But it's like part of me is just so disgusted with someone who would force themselves.
No pardons for pedophiles. Lifetime. Well, actually, no. Just fucking executions. What's wrong with executions? Why are people like executions? Is
it depends on what they did.
You kill another. I mean,
an eye for an eye makes the world go blind.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if you kill people.
Well, all right. So recently there was a guy who was executed in the United States.
I've heard.
And he killed someone, or no, he was involved in a murder that he didn't kill.
He was an accomplice.
He was an accomplice in a murder that killed his wife. Was it or?
That I'm not even sure about. I don't know the whole details.
It was two people that were dead. He was involved in it, but he didn't kill anyone. And he's recently been, he's dead now. It happened when he was 18 years old. And I guess this was like a while ago, like maybe decades ago that he did this.
1980 something. I've briefly heard.
He was 18 at the time. So now he paid the price now for something he did then. I think that is, first of all, they were going to.
I'll be honest with you. I just don't know the details. I can't talk about something that I don't know the information of.
Yeah.
So if I was an accomplice to fucking school shooting, yeah, I think I deserve death penalty. If I provided him with firearms and with a fucking map of the school and the times, yeah, I deserve the death penalty. But that's, again, I don't know the situation with that, so I'm not gonna speak on that because I don't know what happened.
But I feel like at the same time, like when people are fighting against this death penalty, they're almost making it okay. They're making murder sound like it was justified.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I don't like that. And I feel like because he was black, there's a difference. And I feel like if it was a white man on death row, or if he was going to be killed, there would be a different outlook, or maybe it wouldn't have got as much attention. Because now they're playing the narrative. Card. They're playing, it's almost a race card that they're playing the narrative that like we're killing him just because he's black.
Yeah.
But there are white people.
I'm sure his case was probably appealed, right?
I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm sure there was fucking years of investigation.
Also another thing that the bureaucratic agency, or just like the thing itself, or like the prison system and waiting for your trial is that you may wait. Yeah, they should execute him. They should execute him right away. They shouldn't fucking wait. Once the sentence is out, kill him. It shouldn't have taken this long.
No, definitely not.
Because I feel like that's enough time for him to repent and change. He could have redefined himself.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Dude, right now, dude, right there, firing squad. Goddamn,
firing squad. I mean, there's something scary about firing squads because like we. See,
I think
like,
it's the most
ISIS
honorable
and shit
fucking
like
way
that.
to die. No, firing squad is not ISIS at all. I'm not defending ISIS. ISIS is like beheading shit and stuff like that and burning people alive in cages and drowning them. That's some ISIS shit. But firing squad is like, if God forbid one day I was fucking capital punishment, if I had to pick, I would fucking pick firing squad. Fucking hang. I'm not getting no fucking electric chair.
Electric chair doesn't always work too.
Right, that's some
There's
scary
like
shit.
2 waves of
Yeah,
shock.
fuck that. Just
You gotta wait for the second one.
Dude,
Imagine
just shoot
that.
me. Just fucking shoot me.
If I'm gonna go out, like realistically, like if you don't have a choice, I would rather just get shot.
Yeah, firing squad. God
Quick,
damn.
quick.
Honorable.
Do you have any preference on way you want to die?
Where?
The way you want to die. Like,
Yeah, fucking bullet.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm not trying to get
You
no
don't wanna
fucking
suffer.
colon cancer and fucking sit there
sit in
and
the bed.
kiss my kids goodbye. Fuck that, yo. I'm dying like a fucking patriot.
I got you. Yeah, it's just sad to watch someone digress. It's really
Dude,
hard
you
to
just
watch. You know?
die and you die. You know, bullet,
Yeah.
bullet.
You know what's crazy? We all move on. We're so attached to life, but like it's not permanent.
Yeah, I know. That's some sad shit. So
People are so attached to their lasting image.
and that's exactly why I say what I want to fucking say.
Because eventually I'll be gone.
It might not be tactful. There's definitely a professional environment with your job and stuff like that where you have to be tactful and really be careful with what you say. But ultimately, you know, that's why I love America, because freedom of fucking speech. I could say whatever I want. I shouldn't be afraid of speaking my mind over a mob fucking setting my house on fire because they don't agree with my ideas. Like, fuck you.
Isn't that the problem?
That is a big problem.
That is the problem.
That is absolutely a problem.
It's crazy how the group that says they're fighting the problem
They are the problem.
continues the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looting and burning. You know why
does
they
that
boarded
mean?
up fucking Times Square in Manhattan and all that.
Because
During the
Trump
election,
won.
yeah,
Because if Trump won, what does that show you though? Trump won and there weren't riots.
Nothing. No shootings, no killings, no lootings. Nothing. There were protests, peaceful.
But why is it that one side was so hostile? I understand.
And they're the ones and they are the party of tolerance and acceptance and like
it's really hypocritical.
It's just
really
not
hypocritical.
true. It's just not. It doesn't align with reality.
It doesn't. That's a good point. And I understand they may be coming from a perspective where they think that the U.S., our government's only intent is to keep the white man on top.
My question
I don't
is,
agree with that.
why don't they move out?
If you don't like it, leave.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah. If you don't like it, get the fuck out.
I mean, but if it's our home and we can make change, like we have the proper tools.
Yeah, I
like
understand.
legislation.
But if you hate if you hate it so much,
Yeah.
if you're saying it's the worst fucking place ever and you'd rather live in fucking, I don't know, Sudan or Somalia
Or Canada.
go play fucking Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right. That's true. Because like most of the times, like if I want to avoid confrontation, you know what you do? You just, if you don't want to be confronted, avoid it. Right.
Yep.
If you don't want to argue with someone, don't speak.
Yep.
Right. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say it at all.
Yep.
So sometimes it's like if you want to avoid this clashing, just steer your course otherwise.
Yep.
Like, why do we always have to clash? And I feel like some people, there's a difference between picking up the hammer and like getting to work and doing your duty, but at the same time, it's like sometimes we're receding, you know? Because like we have one president that puts all this legislation in power, and then the next president just repeals all of it and puts his own.
What's the point of that, right?
We're working against each other. We're just moving back. For every step forward,
That's
we're moving
why.
2 steps
That's
back.
why I'm against political parties. I think it should be just fucking Party of America.
Yeah, but that's. I mean, the first and the only time we almost had a third party that won, besides Ross Perot.
19.
I'm talking about Teddy Roosevelt, Bull Moose.
Okay.
That was the first time and the last time that the third party really came close. But what happens? He split the vote. So basically, the Democrats were voting with him. Where was it? The Republicans? I'm not sure. I think the Democrats won. Because he took most of the chunk out of the Republicans in that.
Right. Teddy, he ran the third term or something like that.
He ran
Teddy
for
Roosevelt.
the Bull Moose Party.
Okay.
Yeah, and basically his was an in between.
Okay.
Of the two, and we saw that it didn't work. But if it did, I'm pretty sure if he won that third party, America would be different today. He's my favorite president.
Teddy
Roosevelt.
Really?
What a badass.
Oh, he was a fuck.
Dude
Wasn't he
got
like
shot.
an army general or
Dude, he was on the in the West.
Banana Wars and shit?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was on the Western frontier. I forgot what it's called. They were on the horses.
Oregon Trail?
No.
Okay.
Oh fuck! It was such a dope
No, it was
name
before that.
because he was part of this crew that went to the West. They settled this rebellion, and they came back on horses, and they had this cool name. He was their leader.
Oh, the Rough Riders.
Rough Riders, dude.
Yeah, the Rough Riders.
What a life this guy lived. I mean, he was a wrestler, a
Dude,
bodybuilder.
he's a fucking Chad.
He was a politician.
Yeah.
He was a leader.
Fought Monopoly.
Yeah.
big companies.
He was a man's man, but he was also a family man.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I like that.
I love him. He's
Well rounded.
Yeah, very, very.
I really like that. And he was like,
Now,
if you hear about his policy,
what is the least favorite?
my least favorite president. People that have done nothing. I would say who's the fat one that just. There was one president that no one even knows the name of, and I can't think of him.
This like
I can't think of him because this is true. Like the
Like-
stereotype upholds. You know.
okay.
and this guy did literally nothing.
So you don't know the name?
I forgot his name, but my teacher was telling me about him, and I was taking in all the facts, and I was like, wow, he really is fucking useless. Like, there's some dudes who sat in the chair, it did nothing. Did nothing. They were just puppets, you know? We've had that in recent years. I know you might think about like Obama. Like we also have like Clinton had some stuff that was questionable. I mean, Bush. It depends which Bush you're talking about. Like the father was most people would say is different than the son, because the son was in a time where we had the what's called Information Act, right? We're dealing with national security, so he definitely locked down. They limited our freedom, is what Bush did.
Ain't nothing good about that.
Yeah, limiting your freedom is really, it sucks. And you know, this shows
Let me ask you this: do you think Snowden is a hero or a fucking traitor? Edward Snowden.
I know. Yeah, I know. Not the Federalist Papers. Not the Federalist Papers. What's the document that he spread?
The one that said that the NSA and the CIA is spying on American people.
Was it the Pentagon Papers? No.
That was like Edward Norton. That was during Obama time.
Yes.
He told everybody that the NSA pretty much is listening to our every phone fucking conversation and all that.
No, then he's a hero. I think he's a patriot.
I fucking agree.
Because the patriot is for the people.
Straight up.
And if you're securing information for the state,
fuck up. Yeah.
if you're securing information for the state, you're no longer for the people. But is it actually? That's a hard question. Because like if you're,
I mean, look, if the government is spying on its citizens, they will tell you all of it. They'll tell you so that we could fucking track terrorists and all that. But in reality, it's control.
Yeah, and coming from someone that works for the government, for you to be able to,
I'm more on the patriotic side of working for the government.
No, but I know what you're saying though. Like people might think that because
I would never fucking shoot American citizens or any crazy shit like that.
Yeah, people also
that's what I love about the Marine Corps. You could refuse an unlawful order.
Really?
Yeah. If they tell you to fucking shoot up civilians, I'm not fucking doing that.
Wow. So what's this code you're talking about? The UCMJ? Yeah.
UCMJ Uniform Military Code of Justice. So Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, fucking Air Force, everybody's under them. It's like the Constitution for the military. So certain shit you can say, certain shit you can't do. I don't think I've said anything that. No.
What can't you say? You can't.
Well, you can't really like classified information, shit like that. You can't. There's certain restrictions, you know. Like freedom of speech is kind of limited, especially when you're in uniform. So when you're in uniform, like I'm not. Whatever I've just said in this podcast is not on by any means is the views of the Marine Corps. It's my personal views.
Gotcha.
My personal views.
There's no classified information that you disclosed.
Absolutely no, nothing. Boot camp. You could YouTube it. You know, fucking. So those are my personal beliefs and views. So I can't go to like protest and especially in uniform, like it, you know, because then the people would assume that that's the Marine Corps view, you know, like, oh, I'm a Marine and this is that. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I'm an American and this and that.
I think you've shown your ability today to like, you could also have perspective, and you're not, people think that someone that works in the military or serves, that they're just like this nuthead who just
we have liberals, we have Democrats, we have.
And you're not also a guy that's very hostile.
No, I'm not, bro. I'm a man of peace. I'm a man of peace, you know.
As much
violence,
as you like
guns, yeah, absolutely. Violence is the last resort.
Yeah.
Violence is when everything else has been exhausted. You can't find a peaceful solution.
Yeah.
You try to de-escalate the situation, and diplomacy doesn't work.
And it doesn't always work.
And absolutely not,
yeah.
Which is sad. But I would do everything if I was in a position of power where I had a choice between war and peace. I would definitely choose peace by all means.
Peace first, yeah.
Peace. Fuck war. You know, it's some. I've never been to war. I've never seen people die in combat. I've never. You know, I don't want to see that. And frankly, I don't want to see my freaking fellow Marines die, and myself included, you know, or you know, I don't romanticize violence.
A lot of people do. Yeah, that's one thing I really want.
Ain't nothing good about war. Yeah, let's go to combat, kill some people. And do they know the reality of it? Because trust me, the infantry Marines, the people who actually been to war, and I'm not speaking on their behalf, but I would assume people who actually been to war, special forces, do you think they sit there and say, hey, let's go fucking see combat? You know, they know how to do it. They're professionals at it. That's their job. But I'm sure there's very few people that actually want to go and see fucking combat, and like nobody does. It's easy when you go and fight in like somebody who doesn't have air superiority, who doesn't have any naval support. You're fighting like a little, for example, even ISIS. I'm not saying it's easy to fight them, but if the United States military actually wanted to and go invade,
we could obliterate them.
The fucking 2 days.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
So it's all politics, right? Bombs,
yeah, just fucking carpet bomb the whole fuck. Yeah. But if you fight in a country, let's say we fought, for example, China or Russia, who have air support, who have drones, who have some similar shit to us, I think we'd still dominate. But
cybersecurity,
right? Cyber, yeah. That'll be that'll be a different kind of war. Sitting there in fucking trenches and they fucking barraging your shit with artillery. Who the fuck wants to be there?
Yeah. That must be really devastating.
Yeah, fuck that. Point, you know, I hope I never get to witness shit like that, and I hope we never go to war.
Yeah. That's thankfully we haven't had war. in a while.
Well,
But it depends. Who you ask.
well.
What, you think it's coming?
No, well, now depends. Well,
How our diplomacy works?
I can't really speak on that, but I will say this: the past 4 years have been pretty peaceful, thanks to our commander in chief. Kept us
I mean, people don't give him credit, dude. Like,
dude,
they're like
man of peace.
You know
I don't.
what's crazy?
It's not political.
You know what's
He's a
crazy?
man of peace.
The first president to step foot in North Korea. They signed a bill with him, and now they're making up stories like, I don't like how they changed the narrative. So what I saw was peace. I saw a man that created a peace
Dude.
treaty. He stepped in a country that no president ever went to,
Ever.
and basically he tied a knot.
Yep.
And maybe they didn't come to. Any
He's a
conclusions.
deal maker. He's a deal maker.
Exactly.
He knows how to
But
do
you know what
that.
people were turning it into? That he's creating best. He's almost best friends with the enemy now. And I was like, so if a man creates peace, he's now siding with the enemy.
Let's
Like,
send
where
those.
do you draw the line?
If let's say theoretically, if we went to war with North Korea, let's send those fucking people to war because they're so fucking loud about it.
Right.
Let's send them to war. Let's see how they talk
The
about it.
people who
Fuck,
love
shut the
talking
fuck up.
never have any experience.
no
or never have
fucking
any
experience.
outlook.
Just like those people who talk about guns, they don't know shit.
Yeah. And the people talk about
Semi-automatic,
reform,
automatic. What's the
legal
difference
system.
between semi-automatic and automatic? They don't even know the fucking difference.
Mm-hmm.
Machine gun, fully automatic burst. What the fuck is a fully automatic burst?
Mm-hmm.
Fully automatic single fire. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, they have no idea, no clue.
They don't even have
They never held a firearm.
Exactly. I've shot rifles, shotgun, and BBs.
Hell yeah.
BBs, bro.
BBs is where it starts.
It's true.
Yeah.
You could tell a marksman by his BB range. You know?
Yeah, really?
But those things are so unpredictable because it's round.
The wind and
The round, and it's round. So if you shoot it, it'll fucking spin and go right.
Yeah.
That's terrible, bro. That's why you need a fucking dart.
Yeah.
Yeah. BBs, they're all right. It was fun growing up as a kid because
Yeah.
I was like 10 or 12. I was like, yeah, BBs. But then you also learn about there's a lot of discipline when you're holding a gun.
Yeah.
You can't be on a range and turn around with your gun.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't load your gun until
Can't keep your finger-
authorized. So
Yeah,
you know?
can't keep your finger off the trigger until ready to fire.
Safety on at
Keep
all
your-
times.
Yep, absolutely, until ready
Exactly.
to fire.
A gun down range, or
Yep.
whether it's even like bow and arrow, everything is down range.
Even if it's fucking unloaded, treat every weapon
it's
weapon as if it's loaded.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you got to be careful,
ain't no fucking toys. Those are fucking firearms.
dude. This shit's scary because like people can carry guns and you don't know like what they're gonna do with them, or like but like some people walk around when they tote them. Like, have you seen videos of a guy like at a gun range talking and then it goes off
Yeah,
and he's explaining?
Dude,
It's really uncareful.
And he was an instructor. That's the crazy
Mhm.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's wild though.
I know exactly the video that you talking about.
Yeah.
Did you mean to do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, what?
That thing had kickback though.
Yeah.
I don't know what that was.
It was. I think it was like a 44 Magnum or something.
Gotcha.
It was a revolver for sure.
You ever shot a deagle?
Yeah, a deagle.
Really?
A Desert Eagle. Yeah, I shot a 50 cal.
Damn.
It's fire, but it's not a practical firearm.
It's
You know,
not,
the
'cause
fuck
it's
are you
so
gonna
heavy
say?
duty.
It's also 7 rounds. The recoil is crazy.
Because it's basically a sniper.
No major special forces. No countries utilize that as a sidearm.
Because isn't it? It's a sniper.
I mean, it's a 50 cal. But it's a pistol. It's a pistol. It's a
How big is the bullet?
originally. Well, so the sniper, the 50 cal on a BMG is like this, but the pistol one is small. It's a lot smaller, but the diameter is the same. So,
It's
it's a badass round. Yeah, you get fucked. You get hit with the 50 cal. You're done.
Yeah, but I don't think people understand like a bullet. Nonetheless, the speed it's traveling at, it's not because it's explosive or it has FMJ. It's the speed. It's the velocity.
Right.
A small
The
bullet.
kinetic energy. Yeah.
A small bullet will still kill a man.
Yeah, 22. 22 is this big. 22 caliber.
And
22
guess what?
long rifle is
A
like.
22 to the head is going to do the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. It will probably.
it's gonna finish the job
There
exactly
there
like
is a
Eagle.
chance that will probably. It might stop. It might.
A 22, yeah, because
It might. But you could also.
No, it does happen often.
Just like if you
especially,
shoot
body shots.
if you
too.
shoot a 22 at a windshield, it might not even penetrate.
Yeah.
Or a 380
That's true.
because it just ricochets. Not ricochets,
Yeah.
but it goes up, and windshields are pretty tough.
Mhm.
They're pretty tough.
That's true. Yeah, man, it's just about like moving forward with this stuff. Learn about guns. I'm really interested in that stuff. I want.
It doesn't matter who shoots first. It doesn't matter who. What matters is the hits and where you hit.
But it's also the person behind the gun,
Absolutely.
right? Like a good carpenter doesn't blame his hammer.
Yep.
I think that guns kill people. I meant
what?
I don't think that guns kill
Yeah.
people. I know that people kill
Yeah,
people.
absolutely.
You know,
Anything is a weapon. You
And-
can use the vehicle as a weapon.
you could use a knife. I mean, you could use
a knife. You could
use a pressure cooker and a backpack. You know,
Yep.
like people have done that. I mean, if someone has ill will, they will find a way.
Yep. Evil has no
No bounds.
balance. Yeah.
Exactly. So if someone is going to do something, it's not. And Drake said this. He said, "Bullets do not choose a victim. It's the shooter that picks them." You know, and that's true. There's a responsibility with anybody carrying. Like, I don't care how much someone loves guns. They have to understand that as soon as they have it, they are carrying themselves not only in a leadership position, but they're being watched. You know,
Deadly force, dude.
exactly. So the way they act is going to be represented in the following generations.
Absolutely. And I hate when gun owners give gun owners a bad name. Fucking degenerates.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
like when people do stupid shit with firearms.
Yeah, that's true. I think you should be very careful. If you have a gun, you have to be on your best behavior, and you have to understand that you're leading by example now. So anything you do is going to be portrayed, whether it's the media, it's the people watching you. You know, it carries on. It's scary though.
It's a huge responsibility.
Hell yeah, bro. It's all about leading by example.
Yep.
So, brother, well, you want to leave it there?
No. Whatever you want to talk about. Do you have anything else?
Nah, I mean, like, I think it was good.
Dude, yeah,
You
it's
want it
a
there?
great podcast, dude. I appreciate being invited here.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was gonna be this interesting. I thought it was just gonna be a bunch of corny questions.
No,
That's what I'm trying to
for
say.
me, it's more conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a
So I
whole
usually
conversation.
start off with the occupation of the person in front of me or their interests, and eventually from that you can learn about the person.
What is
So-
what is it? What is the intent of your podcast? What are you trying to achieve with that?
Kind of like a journalist thing. I'm interested in the person, the individual.
Right.
So like I said, I start off with their occupation or what they're doing, and usually from that, it leads down the road, and you find the guy or the gal in front of you. Like you learn about the person.
Do you usually have them every week?
I do it as often as I can. I did one last night.
How do you
4
pick your
hours.
people? How do you pick?
That's a great question, by the way. So for you particularly, your job, it's your occupation, your personality. I have no preference or kind of selection process. I'll take anybody. Like I have this idea, like I really just want to put like a ballot or like staple something onto like a telephone pole. Just have these little things. Call my number, text me, whatever. If you want to come on my podcast, I want to have a random person over.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is that they're coming into my house, so like I do on like a
Right.
studio
Yeah.
for them. It is risky. I don't know what they're bringing in. But
Dunkin' Donuts
exactly. Yeah. Thank
and
you, man.
some Kodiak. Kodiak right here.
Quick shout out Kodiak.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's really about like the individual, you know. So even if I have like a random person on, like someone at the park who just like someone just stopped by. and talked.
Funny thing about Kodiak. You know what a Kodiak is?
A bear.
A bear. You know where it's
The
from?
biggest bear.
You know where it's from?
No.
Alaska. So I was like, Kodiak, this and that. You know where the United States got Alaska from? They bought it from Russia.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's like $7 million back in like 1870 something. And the bear, actually the Russians gave the bear the name, and in Russian it's Kadiak.
Kodiak.
And then
You know it's the biggest bear?
yeah. So I was like, why just the history behind this dip, Kadiak. That's the name of the bear.
I like that.
Yeah.
You know it's the biggest bear there is. I think the heaviest one that's been found was like 2,500 pounds.
God damn, he'll fuck you up.
Yeah, dude. It's fucking crazy. So yeah, as I was saying, it's really like a journalist thing I'm doing now. I like learning about the person in front of me. Each person has a really different perspective, and my view is that like I want you to speak your mind. And even some people might say that you might go too far or you might be too explicit. I don't believe that, you know?
Yo, there hasn't been anything explicit that I said so far.
I know, right?
I just don't know it yet.
I like the opinion because I don't want to have my guests all come on here and have the same type of thinking.
Yeah.
Everyone is so different. Like
Yeah.
yesterday I had someone talking about vibrations, and we were talking about like understanding on a different level and like chakra and shit like that.
Damn.
Very interesting. And then you come here, we have a different complex. We're talking about military and not only support but camaraderie and protection.
Do you think more people should join the military? Do you think there should be mandatory military?
I want to serve at some point. I do. I'm very interested.
So guess what? Are you over? Do you have a high school diploma? Are you over 18?
I want to finish my college degree first.
All right, well, there's a program for that in the Marines as well.
That's great. If you want to shout out the Marines
Yeah.
real quick or your base, where do you recruit from?
Well, I was on recruiter's assistance at RSS Ridgewood. So if anybody wants to join,
I'll leave your information below.
yeah,
I'll do that.
shout out on my Instagram. Hopefully I haven't said anything crazy. People.
I mean, you're a human being. You shouldn't have to always. You should definitely regulate your thought and what comes out, but at the same time, there has to be this flow where you can't care.
Free country.
Free speech.
Free.
That's what this is.
Speech. You don't have to like it.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Freedom of thought. Joe Rogan right here.
Ladies and gentlemen,
It's
my
been
man
a
Farrukh.
boom.
Thank you for coming down,
Boom.
brother.
His arms are bigger. I used to have big arms.
Stop,
Damn, this
stop,
shit is
stop.
weak. Hold on, let me see.
Gotta get the other angle.
Oh.
Attaboy with the peaks.
Nah, let's see yours. Let's see.
Nah.
For a second, just for a second. Nah.
Oh, this one? No, it's bad lighting.
Nah, yours is bigger, bro.
Stop. Now you have
Nah,
the
yours is
peak.
bigger. Don't worry,
Those
guys.
are
Don't worry,
chin
guys.
ups.
We're gonna get there.
So you got the short head where like
Yeah. Where it's kind of like
yeah, that's dope.
it's it's nice.
Fucking genetics,
It's
man.
nice to have muscles.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Bow.